Owen built this business from scratch. Now it's all in the cloud. His ideas, his data, his future, which is fine. Until someone clicks on a link they shouldn't. BT Complete Cloud Secure protects your business online. It filters harmful sites and blocks malware from just £3.30 per user per month. Keeping Owen's business data, well, Owen's. Cybersecurity is everyone's business. Search BT Business Cybersecurity. T's and C's apply. Prices exclude VAT at 20%. 12-month minimum term applies.
You can't do much in under 5 minutes. Boil an egg? Sure. Cook a roast dinner? No chance. But comparing car insurance prices with mustard.co.uk? Easy. See what you could save in just a few minutes. Click mustard.co.uk. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge weekend across Scottish football. There was Euro misery, but what comes next? Just a couple in the Premiership this afternoon. Dundee, Livy and Kilmarnock, St Mirren, and then it's on to tomorrow. Celtic losing at home, Kasper Schmeichel making mistakes, some VAR drama. How will all that feed into the visit of Motherwell with their new attractive style of play? As for Rangers, confrontations and hotel receptions, further criticism of Russell Martin, and next up it is a trip to Falkirk. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me today you have Gordon Dalziel, Ross McCormack and Hugh Keevins.
Yeah, it was a bad week for Scottish football's reputation in Europe, with Celtic, Rangers and Aberdeen all losing in the Europa League. But this weekend the Premiership promises domestic thrills and spills. Livy, would you believe, have scored more goals in the league this season than Celtic. And they'll move above Rangers in the table if they can beat Dundee United at Tannadice, and they'll give them a game of it there. And St Mirren could move to within 2 points of Celtic if they beat Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. All of that does, and I haven't mentioned the champions-elect Hearts, who will go 5 points ahead of Celtic when they win today, and 12 points ahead of Rangers when they win the Greyfriars Bobby Derby.
That's what I love about you, Hugh. You're all in very early.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. That's why you're still in this show. But I'm delighted we've got football after Storm Amy came last night, Gordon, and obviously today as well. So congratulations to all the clubs getting their games on today. I'm looking forward to it. I know that, look at Premier League. Kilmarnock St Mirren, I think that'll be a real good game. Dundee United living. Can Dundee United bounce back after losing to Kilmarnock last week? Our old friend is going brilliant in the Championship, Partick Thistle, and then I'm looking forward to Hearts and Hibs tonight. Edinburgh Derby, can't get any better.
Yep, couple of good games, Gordon, in the Premiership. Dundee United Livingston, as Dazzler said, I'm expecting a reaction from them today to get back on it. St Mirren away to Kilmarnock. St Mirren third in the league, looking to keep going. Stephen Robinson, what a fantastic job he's done. And then later on tonight you have a clash of the unbeaten teams in the capital. It'll be a very interesting game. I'm not sure I agree with you that it's a champions elect, but hey,
come on now,
you can dream, can't you?
Somebody will be dreaming out there. Let's see what happens this afternoon before we worry about May. Sit back and enjoy. I know it's a miserable day out there, so why not get the feet up and let Hugh Keevins and his pals entertain you. You can stay in touch all day at Clyde SSB if you want to react to things as they happen. And then of course I'll give you the nod a bit later on when it's time to pick up the phone. And there should be no shortage, not even close to a shortage of talking points, because it was only Thursday, so you can't be over it yet. Kasper Schmeichel, VAR, Celtic drawing a blank, Russell Martin, Patrick Stewart, Kevin Thelwell, another defeat in Austria. There was a lot to get through. There's no chance we're over it already, and it does feed into tomorrow as well, so there'll be plenty to get through on the phone lines, and we'll give you the nod a bit later on when we get the chance. For now, let's go round. We've picked out 3 featured matches for the 3 o'clock games. Of course, that Edinburgh Derby still to come, which we're all looking forward to greatly. So let's start at Kilmarnock. The visitors are St Mirren, and David Friel is keeping an eye on that one.
I am, Gordon, and I'll start with a weather report. As Gordon mentioned there, Storm Amy has arrived. She's in Kilmarnock. It's not too bad yet. The sun's actually shining, but unfortunately winds of 48 mph are forecast for kick-off time. We hope the weather doesn't ruin the game, but it's hard to see a lot of flowing football being played here today. Unfortunately, the corner flags are under a lot of pressure already, and this should be a good game because you've got two evenly matched teams over the last few years. The last meeting just last month was a 2-2 draw in the League Cup quarter-final. St Mirren of course went through in penalties that night, but they haven't actually won a league game at Rugby Park in over 12 years, and to put that in perspective, Chris Boyd, John McGinn were among the scorers for the two clubs that day way back in 2013, Cammy Bell in goals for Kilmarnock, so history is against them. However, they've been in really good form, St Mirren. They start today in third place, and they, as you said, can put pressure on those above them, but as is the tight nature of the table, Kilmarnock could actually go above St Mirren with a win today, so we'll see how that pans out. I was up at Tannadice last weekend to see Kilmarnock beat Dundee United. They were absolutely outstanding both individually and collectively. Stuart Kettlewell clearly wants to back that up with another 3 points. They've been pretty consistent since they arrived. A few draws in there, but a win today would clearly be huge. As for St Mirren, they're just looking to make it 3 Premiership wins on the bounce after seeing off Falkirk and Dundee in the last 2 games. They're actually unbeaten in their last 7, and they've only lost 1 of their last 18 competitive games. So Stephen Robinson and his players will be just as confident as Kelly, and it should be an open game. Hopefully the weather doesn't ruin it. Hopefully we see plenty of goals. Unsurprisingly, both teams unchanged from their wins last week, and both will play 3-5-2 formations. Just run through the teams for you. Max Stryk in goals for Kilmarnock, George Stanger, who got a New Zealand call up this week, Lewis Mayo and Robbie Dees at the back, James Brown, David Watson, Liam Polworth, Greg Kelty and Dom Thompson across midfield, with Marcus Stackers and Bruce Anderson in attack for Kelly. Subs are Beach, Lyons, Williams, McKenzie, McGuinness, Tiffany, Schilt, Brown, Brannan and Daniels. As for St Mirren, Shamal George in goals, back 3 of Miguel Freckleton, Alec Gogic and Richard King, Jayden Richardson, Killian Phillips, Liam Donnelly, Roland Adubu and Declan John in midfield, with Mikael Mandron and Jonah Ayunga up front. Subs for St Mirren are Mullen, Tanser, Taylor, Bacchus, McMenamin, Dyke, Steele, Calvin, Mooney and Lundulu. Referee at Rugby Park is Nick Walsh, and the VAR is Andrew Dallas.
Is it too early in the season? Is it too unfair, David Friel, to say that Kilmarnock winning at Tannadice last week was a shock result? Is that doing Kelly a disservice? How do they follow on from it?
I think it was a shock result, Gordon, probably just because of how well Dundee United had been doing, but Kilmarnock could maybe slipped under the radar slightly. As I said, they've not lost. I don't think they've lost in 90 minutes apart from the Celtic game, they'd lost in 90 minutes all season. I think Stuart Kettlewell has found a rhythm there, and they've plugged away. They had a really good group stage in the League Cup, and I think they've taken that into the league as well. He's found a good balance. That 3-5-2 formation that he played at Motherwell obviously caused a bit of controversy back then, but I think he's got the players here to really do it, and it's working. And it was a huge win for them, but they need to go and back it up today. I think if Kilmarnock want to go and challenge for a top 6 place, they need to be winning games against their closest rivals, and St Mirren over the last few years have been that.
Just look at St Mirren's record. I was going to say recently, David, it's not recently at all. It goes back ages, just how consistently impressive they are, or consistently hard to beat.
Yeah, and I just think they've got a good manager. You know, it's not rocket science, and I'm really surprised, and I don't want to get rid of Stephen Robinson from the game, but I'm really surprised he's still there, because I think his body of work at St Mirren is hugely impressive. He's now into a semi-final as well. I think that was the one kind of box he wanted to tick. But he signs well, the recruitment's really, really good. He gets a tune out of players, and you know, he coaches them well, and I always think that the sign of a good manager, good coach, is when players become better under his guidance, and I think you can see that with St Mirren over the years. He's taking guys in who've then gone on to get really good moves off the back of it. I think he's a good manager. St Mirren are very, very lucky to have him, and you just wonder how long they can keep him for.
Looking forward to that one today, Kilmarnock against St Mirren. Hopefully the weather doesn't ruin it though. Ross McCormack and Gordon Dalziel will tell us the wind is the worst of the conditions to try and play football in, so it might not be one for the purists down there in Ayrshire, but we will keep across it and find out how that goes. We did mention that Kilmarnock win at Tannadice last week, maybe it was a shock result. How do Dundee United respond to it then, Dave Galloway?
Well, Gordon, a quick weather report. First of all, it's cold, dull and windy here. We're expecting gusts of over 50 miles an hour. Hopefully a good game to come, though. Hopefully that will not be ruined. Well, Dundee United's new look side, they've served up some really entertaining football so far this season. Their fans have been pleased with what they've seen, but manager Jim Goodwin's after more consistency, saying things haven't clicked into place just yet. One area for improvement that he has pinpointed is conceding goals from set pieces, so it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out this afternoon. Livingston, well, they've been impacted by conceding conceding stoppage time goals in 3 of their previous 4 games, which has cost them 3 valuable points. No wins in 4 matches for Davy Martindale's side as they try and find their feet after returning to the top flight. Both teams keen to bounce back from home defeats last weekend. As we touched upon a moment ago, the Tangerines losing here to Kilmarnock, and Livy, a really agonising one for them, conceding to Rangers in the 94th minute. Let's look at the teams then, and just the one change for both of them. I'll give you Dundee United first. It's Moller in for Fata, so they will start with Kucherenko in goals, a back 3 of Iovu, Esselink and Carestes. Midfield, Stevenson, Chevet, Camara and Ferry. Up top, Sapsford, supported by Dolcek and Moller. Their subs this afternoon are Richards, Strain, Trapanovsky, Eskison, Sibbald, Fata, Namo, Cleel Harding and Constable. Just the one change, like I say, for Livy as well. It's McLennan in from the start for Winter. So Prior in goals. Looks like a back 4 of Finlayson, Silla, Wilson and Montgomery. The sitting midfielders today for the Livy Lions, Susoho and Tate. Then they have Smith, Pittman and McLennan, with May the furthest forward leading the line today. Their subs are Hamilton, Blaney, Muirhead, Carey, Winter, Bakila, Robinson, Shinnie and Yangi. Your match referee here at Tannadice is Duncan Nicholson, and on VAR duties, Greg Aitken.
David Martindale will be stung, Hugh, by that late Rangers winner, of course, for obvious reasons. We look at everything through the Rangers lens and the aftermath, but when you come so close, he'll be looking to try and get something and put that right today.
Well, it's the ultimate frustration, and as Big Marv informed us on SuperScoreBoard during the week, there was then a little bit of handbags on the touchline between both camps, but a bad blow for Livy. But Davy Martindale and Marvin, they can be proud of what they've done so far, and Livy are moving along nicely, thank you, and they will give Jim Goodwin's side a hard time of it today, and the conditions will be the proverbial leveller.
Yep, it is not a classic day out there. Let's dip into the Championship. We've got a featured match there for you, not too far from here at all. At Firhill, it's Partick Thistle against Arbroath, and Fraser Wishart is watching.
Yes, good afternoon. And Thistle, of course, in a really good place in the early part of the season. A good League Cup run, got to quarter-finals, lost to Celtic. Mark Wilson's got his team playing well, and since a heavy opening day defeat at St Johnstone and a draw in the second game against Morton here, Thistle have now won 5 league games in a row, and they sit second, 6 points behind St Johnstone, but with a game in hand. I mean, you look at it through that prism, the only difference between the two was that opening day defeat. So Thistle really picking up their form. If they're to keep up at the top of the table, they'll have to win games at home, and on paper Arbroath, part-time team in a full-time league, should be one the Jags fans will be confident of their team winning. But the reality is Arbroath have shown this season they will be able to compete with teams with bigger budgets and full-time setups. They sit in 4th, 5 points behind Thistle, and they've got an unusual management setup. Arbroath, they've got co-player managers, David Gold and Colin Hamilton, both be on the bench today. They were players and they stepped up when the team is bottom of the League One table, and they won the league last season and put together decent squad. Players with experience like Aaron Muirhead, 2 spells at Thistle, Ryan Dow, Ryan Flynn, Premier League experience. So Thistle need to be wary that Mark will want to keep this good run going, and a feel good factor in the stands, which is so important, get the fans behind him. And he has experience in his team as well with Watt and Ashcroft, but he's also used his contacts in the loan market. This week he added young Sean McCardle from Celtic to Josh Clark and Ben McPherson, also from Celtic on loan, and I think that will be important because he's working with a pretty small squad, but it looks like a strong squad when you hear the team and you look at the bench. Looking forward to this one. Pitch looking great. I just hope, as the guys are saying, blustery wind doesn't spoil it, but I expect it to be tight. But I take the Jags to keep the momentum going with a narrow victory. Team-wise, there's 2 changes from the team that beat Queen's Park during the week for Partick Thistle. Redding and Ushin Smith, who's on loan from St Mirren, come in. Cammy Logan and Ben Stanley drop to the bench. They go with the usual 4-2-3-1 formation. Josh Clark in goals, Ben McPherson, Lee Ashcroft, Dan O'Reilly and Paddy Redding at the back. In midfield, Ushin Smith and Robbie Crawford, Logan Chalmers, Soanella Letsosa and Aidan Fitzpatrick behind lone striker Tony Watt. The substitutes are Lewis Budinokis, Cammy Logan, Kyle Turner, Alex Samuel, Stephen Lawless, Luke Macbeth, Sean McCardle, Ben Stanley and Liam Dolan. Just one change from Arbroath at the heavy defeat last week away at Wraith Rovers. They've changed their formation to 4-3-3, so they've taken Nikolai Todorov out of the team onto the bench, and then comes skipper Ryan Flynn to bolster the midfield. So Aidan McAdams is in goals, Scott Stewart, Aaron Muirhead Brooklyn Cabangola and Jack Wilkie at the back, Ryan Flynn and Jacob McIntyre in the midfield alongside Harry Cochrane, with the three forwards Taylor Stephen, Ryan Dow and Finlay Marshall. Their subs Jordan Pettigrew, Colin Hamilton, David Gold, Craig Watson, Aaron Pettifer, Nikolai Todorov, Rocco Hickey Fugaccia and Victor Enham, and the referee today on his own, no VAR at Firhill, is Mr Chris Graham.
Yeah, I don't ask this lightly, and I'll obviously, for reasons that will become clear, bring Gordon Dalziel in on it in a second, but I wonder if, is it time, Fraser, for us all just to hold our hands up, be magnanimous about this, admit when we maybe got things wrong, and suggest that maybe Mark Wilson actually knows what he's doing?
I was thinking that this morning. I was thinking we could take the mickey out of him, and he enjoys it as well, but it is friendly fun that we're making of him as well. But it's too early to even judge Partick Thistle. Yes, in a great run, but we know what the Jags are like. It doesn't seem to be who's manager or who's playing the team. They have this capability of just shooting themselves in the foot, but so far the signs are really good, and if you win 5 games in a row at any level, that's a good run, and you add that to a good League Cup run as well, the confidence of it going through the squad. So I think Mark, yeah, he's doing a great job. Let's judge it when we get to March or April. If he's still in the job and they're still up there in the challenge at the top of the table, then we'd all need to say well done.
Quite right, Gordon. Too early to say if Mark Wilson actually knows what he's doing. I like how Fraser's brought us back down to earth.
No, I disagree. I think he totally knows what he's doing. I'm delighted for him. I can't wait till he goes on to a bigger job, because he's promised me he's taking me out the studio with him. So I'm all for Mark. Another victory day. Keep going.
As
Brilliant.
if on a day like this you wish you were standing in a touchline, you'd phone in sick.
No, I'm doing the hospitalities. I'm not standing outside.
I did a Sunday Mail piece with Mark 2 weeks ago, and he spoke about Super Scoreboard and his time at Brecon and the infamous tracksuit top episode in the charity shop. And he said he always fronted up and he always accepted it was in good humour. But when he became Partick Thistle manager, he understood the enormity of the job, and that's why he stepped down from Super Scoreboard, because he had to give them his full attention. And all credit to him and Alec Ray, they're moving nicely.
Absolutely. That's you up to speed on the team news ahead of our 3 o'clock games. Regular listeners will know we tend to pause and reflect on some of the week's biggest talking points. Next, hopefully, we'll have them all done and dusted by about midnight, because there are a few. We'll do it next.
Owen built this business from scratch. Now it's all in the cloud. His ideas, his data, his future, which is fine. Until someone clicks on a link they shouldn't. BT Complete Cloud Secure protects your business online. It filters harmful sites and blocks malware from just £3.30 per user per month. Keeping Owen's business data, well, Owen's. Cybersecurity is everyone's business. Search BT Business Cybersecurity. T's and C's apply. Prices exclude VAT at 20%. 12-month minimum term applies.
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box, with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Ross McCormack and Gordon Dalziel are here. Our top team have given us team news ahead of our featured 3 o'clock games. Partick Thistle, Arbroath, Dundee Livy and Kilmarnock St Mirren. Plenty of build-up to the Edinburgh Derby and of course tomorrow's games to come. But with tomorrow's games in mind, let's take a look at some of the week's biggest talking points, and it does really revolve around disappointing, to put it lightly, night in Europe on Thursday, Hugh Keevins, with wide-ranging ramifications for both Glasgow sides.
Yeah, they're both in a state. For Russell Martin, another poor night. For someone who keeps talking about how well the players look in training, they don't transfer their training form onto the competitive field. For Celtic, another game with no goals in it. We can go on and on about the fantasy VAR decision. However, that's what happened. It was chalked off, and they drew a blank against Hibs in the league, and then another blank against Braga midweek. They have a goalkeeping problem. Schmeichel has started to become that problem. They have a problem at fullback. both left and right. They have a problem in midfield where there's no creativity, and they have a definite problem up front where there is a severe lack of cutting edge. They have had 5 games this season in which they have failed to score a goal. So for both of them, it was a very, very poor midweek, and Europe is going to be a problem for them, because whatever they do domestically, Europe is going to drag them back.
Yeah, I totally agree. After hearing Hugh's assumption there of Celtic, not much gone for them.
Other than that, though,
yeah, other than that, they're sitting second in the league. A good game against Motherwell tomorrow. Look, it was very disappointing. You can throw Aberdeen in the mix, but I think Aberdeen came out with a little bit of confidence. Apparently the performance was decent against a very good side, and they scored a couple of goals, which was well needed, try and get the confidence up. But I totally agree with you. I watch Rangers. They don't excite me. I don't think they're a particularly top team. I think they've got 1 or 2 individuals that can probably carry them along just now. The manager is under enormous pressure. He's come out with things that I just can't believe, mentality, and it's not the tactics. Well, if that's the case, it's not tactics. Why are you changing formation? Why are you changing personnel and everything at half time when you're 2-0 down? So there's a lot of problems at Ibrox just now. I look over at Celtic. I think they've got quality in their squad, but there's so many of their big players not hitting off. McGregor, the captain, used to him playing solid every single week. I think he's off it a mile. I think Hatate's off it. I think Maeda's off it. He's now been played in about 4 or 5 positions. He was a player of the year last year as a centre forward. So big problems at Celtic as well.
Yeah, Maeda, you get shifted to right wing back, didn't you, during the week? I agree with you. They just don't excite me at all. I think the big one for me is Hatate. Hatate's the difference between Celtic being a real attacking force for me and where they're at just now, where quite frankly half the time they don't even look like scoring. Ian Atchell's going to get better. I said when they signed him that when he gets up to speed he will definitely score goals. I think he adds something to that attack. Go across the city, and then you talk about not being excited. For me, I don't see anything. Do you know what I'll say actually? And a lot of people might disagree with me. I actually seen something in Chermiti the other night for the first time. He done a few things where I thought, right, okay, there's something there to work with. When previously I was thinking, this guy ain't got anything.
I'm not too sure, Roscoe, with that button. And if I'm paying 8 to 10 million, I'm looking to say I'm seeing a wee bit in the striker.
Right, let's delve into some of the specifics with the guys around the grounds as well and bring them in. David, we'll do Celtic first because they kicked off first. There we go. How simple is that? You are across all the Celtic beat. Generally, there's a lot going on here. There's Kasper Schmeichel, there are numerous other players, there's VAR, there's Brendan Rodgers, there is the running of the club in the transfer window, etc., which we've been over. It's bound to be a combination of them all, but what sort of factor do you find yourself gravitating towards the most in the aftermath of Thursday?
I just thought it was a really poor performance, Gordon. I mean, we spoke on Monday and I gave Celtic the benefit of the doubt against Hibs. I thought there was real signs of life, but I just wonder whether Thursday was a tipping point where more of the focus goes on Brendan Rodgers and the players. Look, I think this entire season will be played out against the backdrop of the summer transfer window, which was a bit of a shambles, but I still look at that squad and think they should be doing better. The stats don't make for good reading. What is it, 3 wins in the last 9, 5 blanks in that period, as Hugh said, and I just felt they looked quite disjointed. And I think midfield's a huge issue for Celtic. I think it was Ross that mentioned Hatate, and Callum McGregor's also not playing at his best, and I don't think Brendan Rodgers has really found a position for Benjamin Negrin either. And I just think there's too many players off form. I don't think he knows his best team. I don't even think he knows his best units within that team either. And it's all adding, there's a lot of little things mounting up, and I think Celtic are at a bit of a crossroads. And I think tomorrow against Motherwell, it seems huge for me, because Brendan Rodgers, as he said himself, he did admit he has to find a solution for why they've been so blunt in this last period, and if he doesn't come up with it quick, you could easily see the season unravelling. I think, as I said, the board need to take so much blame for what happened in the transfer window, but I think Brendan Rodgers and the players should be doing far better. I think they've got the talent to do far better.
See Celtic fans calling for a change in goal, David. Is that remotely likely?
I find Kasper Schmeichel's season a bit odd, because it wasn't so long ago that he played 8 games for Celtic in Denmark. His first 8 games he kept 8 clean sheets, and people were actually saying, he looks back to his best after a couple of flaky moments at the end of last season. But then I think since then, Belgrade, he made a few good saves, but I thought he was a wee bit culpable for the goal, and then I just don't know what he was doing against Braga. I mean, it seemed, I know the ball moved slightly, but I thought he could actually have caught it, let alone pat it into the net. So I think mistakes in high profile games are creeping in, and I don't imagine Brendan Rodgers will drop him just yet, but I think in Viljami and Asalo, Celtic have got a very good backup, and I think if there's more high profile mistakes like that, I think Brendan Rodgers will have a decision to make.
I think the other big talking point from the Celtic game, Fraser, was clearly the VAR decision. What's been interesting about it, I think Hugh's right, that the Celtic probably have bigger issues right now, and that's why it's not dominating everything, where at another time it might have. And also for us, because we spend so much time looking at our side of it, and are our officials good enough, and is our VAR good enough? And this was like the big competitions with the cameras and foreign refs and all that sort of stuff. So maybe more of a kind of existential point again on VAR as to, is it worth all this? Is this the forensic stuff that we were signed up for? Is it like I say, is it worth the hassle?
Well, I think UEFA will be furious, because UEFA don't want VAR interfering too much. So they're very much in the clear and obvious camp, and there was nothing clear about that. In fact, I don't even think it hit his hand. But if you don't think it, then don't give it. But I think your point right at the start, Gordon, is key. I was thinking about the other night that, see, if Celtic had been taken, won every single game this year, the focus would have been on that decision. But because of all the sort of the noise around the club, and it's the same at Rangers when they have a decision against them as well, it's almost ignored. It's almost say, well, ignore that. Let's concentrate on what's going on in the park, which is quite right. And for Celtic, it's just so strange. A team has been so dominant, and most of the players that took Bayern Munich within seconds of beating them and taking them to extra time in the February-March time, they are still there. But most of them are not playing to the same level, and you just don't know why. Why is that happening? And there's no real tempo to the game. Celtic would just take the game to teams after 20 minutes, even if they went a goal up. You could see the other team blowing and thinking, wow, they're just battering us. And it's just not happening. It's a slow tempo to the game as well. So that's something I think they need to change, is really get the crowd behind them and get going. They might do that tomorrow against Motherwell. But it's just a bizarre situation. Fans were calling for new players. I wasn't the ones who thought that they'd have beaten the Kazakhstan team if they had new players. That doesn't matter. Celtic should still be beating them. But now they've got these new players in. Now the focus has to be on what's going on in the pitch, because nothing can change until January. So Celtic need to get their act together. They're not far behind in the league. There's nothing lost there as well. But Europe now is going to be a tough task to try and get qualification, especially into that top 16 as well. And wider, Gordon, always talk about it, the coefficient for Scotland, we are dropping like a stone. And we are 18 just now, and if our clubs don't get their act together, we could be down at 19, maybe even 20, which of course has an impact on qualifying games, an impact on the number of teams that play in Europe from Scotland as well. So we're relying on the 3 teams that are left to start winning some games, and very, very quickly. But Celtic need to find just a way of actually playing at the tempo and an attacking way that they usually do, and take the games to teams.
We saw an acknowledgement of sorts, Hugh, from Brendan Rodgers, that he now has to do things. I mean, he changed his shape in the second half, very rarely does it. He was asked after it if this was Celtic's transfer window coming home to roost, so to speak, and he said it's really up to him now to find solutions, whatever's gone on previously. So he does accept a bit of that. Does that go as far as a change in goal or a drastic change? I mean, we'll get calls, and I appreciate we get the extreme end of it sometimes. Drop Kasper Schmeichel, drop Callum McGregor, drop Daisen Maeda. Pretty hard to imagine all of that happening at once.
The goalkeeper sold the cup final against Aberdeen. It was a terrible cup final, 2 awful teams, but Celtic would have won it in regulation time but for Kasper Schmeichel throwing the ball in. So his problem started there, and they're not going away. Kasper Schmeichel's forte was when the ball was at his feet. That was high among his attributes. When the ball's at his feet now, your heart's in your mouth at the same time, because he did nothing at Celtic Park on Thursday night other than kick it out the park or kick it to a Braga player. So he'd become a real worry. Overall, Celtic have gone from being a very good team to being a very ordinary team now. And that's because adequate replacements were not signed for the likes of Kyogo and Kuhn. And even in the last window, shambolic though it was, they brought in Balakwisha, who can't even get off the bench
when you really need an attacker to come and help things.
£5 million worth of Balikwisha, and you put on James Forrest at the age of 34 before you would turn to Balikwisha. So yeah, Brendan is being honest by saying it's up to me, but he has many difficulties to overcome, because I think Daisen Maeda, as the Dazzler said, last season's player of the year, his head is somewhere else. He thought he was leaving the club, and in his mind he has left the club because he's a non-contributor.
But then that's where everything is linked, Ross, because take Nicholas Kuhn and Balikwisha, let's compare them, because they're both winners, and Nicholas Kuhn started slow but came good. Nicholas Kuhn could afford to start slow because Celtic didn't need him right there in that moment, but because of everything else that's gone on, back to the transfer window, back to the form of other players, Balikwisha can't get that time. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why it is it's a big combination of factors.
Yeah, you need them to come in and hit the ground running. I think the difference as well is, although Kuhn started very slow, he also showed a couple of glimpses, whereas I look at Balikwisha and it looks to me, Gordon, that he doesn't want the ball. Anytime he gets it, he's more interested in just taking a touch and passing it back to the fullback. It's not what Celtic needs, so I can totally understand Brendan Rodgers leaving him on the bench. James Forrest is a better player than Balikwisha at this minute.
OK, let's turn attention to Rangers then, because they stepped up afterwards and it wasn't any better. Fraser, every Saturday it's the same bit. I'll just clip myself up, record it. Where's Russell Martin now?
Well, I think we spoke last weekend, didn't we, before the game against Livingston, and because I thought they'd be given the 3 games to the international break, and it looks like that might be the case. But I don't think I've ever known a manager who it literally is week to week, and every week we're talking about the same thing. And if they lose tomorrow at Falkirk, what will happen? I don't think any of us really know. Usually that would be real pressure on a manager. I can remember being at Rangers in the 90s and we lost to Falkirk at home 2-0, and the pressure was on Walter Smith, who there was campaigns in newspapers and stuff to votes in newspapers to say, well, should he go? So that's what happens when you lose, but you just don't know what's going to happen with Russell Martin. I have to say, I think the pressure on Russell is beginning to tell. It must be really difficult for him to front up to the media every single week and be talking about his own job. But there doesn't seem to be any signs. I mean, I think Celtic have got the players in there, and they've got the history in there of playing really well at the level. I think they'll come good at some point. But the Rangers players, you just don't know. And there's, I think, it's about 12, maybe 13 players that Russell Martin's brought in himself, or part of that team. So now's the time he has to make these players better as well, and get them into some kind of shape. But I just can't see any signs that it's going to get much better quickly. But again, 2 or 3 wins in a row, and that might just change the players' confidence, because they look at a team devoid of confidence at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly going to have to be a long run, because they did win at Livingston last week, and yet the reaction at full time didn't necessarily mirror that. David Friel, it also feels like there are so many strands to this, way beyond what happens in that 90 minutes, because this week, they find new ways. This week it's Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell in a hotel reception being confronted by fans. Of course it gets videoed, of course it gets put on social media, and then that becomes another big drama about who handled it and what Patrick Stewart could be heard saying about who would you bring in anyway, and it is just relentless at the moment.
Yeah, it wasn't a great watch, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm always a bit wary, and I don't particularly like, I think there's a time and a place for stuff like that. However, I would say that I think the most vocal of the supporters was certainly speaking from the heart. He saw his chance to have his say, and he took it. In terms of Russell Martin, Gordon, I think he's kind of tying himself in knots a little bit with what he's saying. After the game the other night, when he was asked about the first half, he said, it wasn't technical or tactical, it was more mentality. And then you're obviously out speaking to him today for Sky Sports, and we sort of backtracked in that this morning and said it was more about concentration. But I think he is, as Fraser said, I think it is starting to get to him a bit. He keeps talking about anxiety, he keeps talking about this being a young Rangers team. I don't think this is a young Rangers team. I think the average age of the team the other night was 25, the starting 11. It's a very experienced back four, a very experienced midfield in the grand scheme of things. So I just think there's so many problems, but I don't think Russell Martin's helping himself with some of the things he's saying. Yeah,
look, David's right. Hugh, 9 o'clock this morning, bright and early, up to the Rangers training centre to speak to Russell Martin. And I kind of had in my head the theme of it would be this mentality thing, because it's quite a big comment, fans have latched onto it. So very early on in the interview, say, right, you've said mentality's an issue, how do you fix that quickly? How that's not a switch, how do you fix it? And he said, no, that's all about how you interpret language. I wasn't meaning mentality kind of overall, I was talking about in those moments. I think the mentality of the team's been great. I can see why fans are what do you mean? I thought the mentality was the issue. To be fair, maybe if he'd said the other night, it's not tactical, it's not technical, it's concentration, maybe that would have been easier then, and people wouldn't have drawn big conclusions about the mental state of the team.
It has nothing to do with interpretation of the language. It has to do with Russell Martin's vocabulary. If he meant concentration, say concentration, because mentality means something entirely different. Let me just say that with regard to Kevin Thelwell, Patrick Stewart being approached in the hotel foyer, I find things like that disturbing. I don't think they were approached in the proper manner. I think it was overly aggressive. If you have the opportunity to speak to the Director of Football and the CEO, then use your time productively. Ask them a civilised question in a civilised manner, and I don't think that was what took place. I know from your interview with Russell Martin this morning, he said it was representative of the state of the country at the moment. Well,
it was quite deep, that moment.
A bit heavy, that. But I will follow on from that by saying any form of public confrontation like that is to be worried about. You can't have that going on. Celtic, the fan collective, they had their meeting with Chris Mackay and Michael Nicholson on Monday. That's the way to do your business. If the Rangers supporters want to gather and ask for a meeting with the CEO and the Director of Football, then go about it in that manner. I'm just a little uneasy about people being approached in a public place in that manner.
What did you make of it, Ross McCormack? I credit you as one of the first people to send me it in the morning. I do get where Hugh's coming from, and if I'm being perfectly honest, personally, I don't really like it, but at the same time I respect the opinion of a lot of people who've said, well, it wasn't that bad. I don't think a line was majorly crossed, and in Glasgow footballing circles it could have been worse. I don't know if that's a let off. How do you feel about it?
Well, I think people are saying that it wasn't that bad because they probably expect worse. I think it's gone so far now that for me, I expected a little bit worse when I seen them approaching Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell. I was thinking it was going to be physical, but it's not on. You're looking at it now. For Russell Martin, he must not be able to leave the house. He must be in fear when things like that are happening to Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell in hotel lobbies. Russell Martin cannot leave the house unless he's got a bodyguard. It's ridiculous.
He says the fans in the street are being nothing but nice to him, and it's the fans inside the stadium, and this is where it does snowball, Fraser. Because then, Max Aarons essentially said after the game that the crowd are getting to them, so I naturally asked Russell Martin about that this morning as well, and saying, what, does that mean the wrong types of character are being recruited? How do you deal with that stuff? It just feels like Rangers can't escape all this at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised it's getting to some of the players. I agree with Hugh. I didn't like that approach. If you got a chance to speak to Kevin Thelwell, then do it properly. I didn't like the reception Russell Martin got last week outside of the ground. I'm not a fan of the mob mentality across the board, and you're seeing it at many clubs as well. Of course, we've got to listen to fans. Of course, fans should have their say, but there's a time and a place for it. But as Ross says, it must be affecting Russell Martin mentally, to be having this complete focus. And when he said earlier in the week about there was a young boy with his dad screaming and bawling at him, then that really is disappointing as well. And players are no different. Listen, players are human beings, and even the biggest and best players go through a crisis, and they'll go through form as well, and they'll lose their confidence, and it will start to get to them. But the way of changing it is to get a win and get a victory, and they've got a chance of doing that tomorrow night at Falkirk. But it's a kind of unique situation where I've never seen anything like this, with the pressure and the abuse and the stick that Russell Martin's get from the word go. It's really, and I do feel for him, no matter what happens to him. And we can talk about the football side, and should he have done this and should he have done that, but I do feel for him as an individual. I just think it's way over the top, some of the stuff that's said and done about him when people are outside the ground and inside the ground wanting your job. He's a human being like anybody else.
And yet, Hugh, I think most people probably expect Rangers to beat Falkirk tomorrow. Yeah. Is that fair?
Every week you go into it with that attitude, Gordon. I expected them to win at Livingston, and then I'm looking at 1-1 and thinking, again?
I mean, they still did
get
in
out
the
of
end.
jail, get out of jail, yeah. I think what he could do with, although I'll have to say, I don't think anything can save him in the eyes of the Rangers fans. They just not only dislike him, they detest him. But if he were to win 5-0, for example, at Falkirk, it would at least cause you to stop and think, well, I didn't know they had that in them. He needs something like that. He doesn't need another 94th minute goal from Aarons or Tavernier or whoever. He needs to go play properly, play in a thrilling manner, exhibit the gap which exists between Falkirk and Rangers, and win handsomely. But as I say, I'm now of a mind that no matter what he does, they don't want him there, they want him out, and they want him out now.
Okay, we'll park that for now because there's plenty of mileage left in that discussion. I suspect it will take another turn one way or the other tomorrow, but for now we return our full focus to the 3 o'clock games. We'll go back around the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
The scene is almost set ahead of the 3 o'clock kick-off, just about 10 minutes or so to go. Not got many of them, of course. Those Europa League Thursdays wreak havoc with the Clyde One Super Scoreboard schedule. It's almost as if UEFA don't take us into account when they come up with this stuff. It's an absolute liberty.
Next time the Dazzler sees Infantini, he should have a word.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Well, they'll be old pals, I'm sure. But let's go back around what we do have on, and there's still plenty to enjoy. Kilmarnock against St Mirren. I do hate this low-level standard of content, David, where I just need to ask you about the weather. I'd like to come up with something a bit more cutting edge, but seriously, because of what we're all experiencing out and about today, is it going to be a bit of a sore watch, this football match?
I'm hoping not. As I say, it's quite a kind of odd day where it's really bright and sunny but so windy, and I've just been watching the St Mirren players in particular warming up, and there's a lot of football just kind of lying about and they're not staying steady, Gordon, so I just wonder about taking corners and free kicks and how that's going to play out, but I'm hoping it doesn't spoil the game. It should be a cracker. I think there's so many individual battles that will be fascinating here. You know, you've got Marcus Stackers up against the big guys at the back for St Mirren, but the one, the kind of little subplot in this game I'm really looking forward to is two of the outstanding players I think in Scottish football this season. Killian Phillips up against David Watson. They've got 7 goals and 8 yellow cards between them already this season. I think they're going to go toe to toe. David Watson was outstanding at Tannadice last week. Killian Phillips has just been brilliant for St Mirren, scored the winner against Dundee, so I think that battle will be really key to the outcome of this game.
Who's getting booked first?
I'm going to say Killian Phillips because I always think he's got 5 of those 8 yellow cards. He loves everything, but it'll be wholehearted. Both of them give absolutely everything. They won't leave anything out there on that pitch.
Yeah, really looking forward to that one for sure. And it's always this weekend, David, it's such a disrupted start to the season where everyone looks to, I suppose, get that good result as you head into the international break.
Yeah, of course, and I think because it's been a bit stop-start for teams, just with the breaks and obviously cup games and everything as well, but just think for Stuart Kettlewell, there was that one on the road. I mean, that start, but it was 1 winning and 15 away from home. They kind of buried that last week by winning, but he needs to win his home games, and especially against direct rivals. But Stephen Robinson, you know, I think he's mellowed a lot since he went to St Mirren. You know, I thought he used to be a kind of moody character at times, shall we say, but I think he won't want to go into that international break in the back of a bad defeat. So yeah, it's all there for both teams. I'm just hoping it's a good game and the win doesn't spoil it.
Yeah, looking ahead to that one, Dundee United Livingston as well. We mentioned last week, Dave Galloway, that losing against Kilmarnock was a bit of a bubble burster for Dundee United, and it's funny because Dundee United are not under any pressure at all. They're in a really good place and Jim Goodwin's doing a great job and got a new contract and all the rest of it, and yet if you were to go back to back games at home to Kilmarnock and Livy and not win, with no disrespect to those teams, I don't know if the Tannadice locals would take that too well.
Yeah, the mood might sour a little bit. Gordon, maybe Jim Goodwin's kind of built a rod for his own back in a way, because as I touched upon earlier, they have been very pleasing on the eye this season. They've got a very much a new squad, and they're playing some exciting fast and incisive football, plenty skill and flair on the go, but there is tolerance from the fans, obviously, because they can see what is happening, and by and large it's been a very encouraging start to the season. They've scored plenty of goals, but also, of course, they've conceded plenty goals, haven't they? So looking forward to seeing what they can produce. Livingston, you know what you're going to get under Davy Martindale. They will work their socks off. They'll try and ensure their hosts don't get a grip of the game and don't get into their stride, whilst trying to make the most of the set pieces. Be really interesting to see how that one pans out. Hopefully plenty goals to come in this one, Gordon, to take our minds off the cold and blustery and dull conditions. Dundee United have faced more shots in the Premiership this season than pretty much anybody bar Dundee, whom they're level with. Livingston have faced the highest expected goals total of any top flight team. So after saying all that, it'll probably be 0-0.
Kiss of death from Dave Galloway. What about the Championship? We've one featured match, Partick Thistle or both, which we have given team news. I'll maybe ask you to become the Championship correspondent overall, Fraser, because naturally we have to pick one as our featured match. I think we picked the right one, but a lot of other intrigue around St Johnstone, the early pace setters, and yet not a million miles ahead of Thistle. They're at home to one of Gordon Dalziel's former teams, Ayr United. I can't help but be fascinated by Ross County at the moment. Fraser, with your PFA Scotland hat on, how do you feel about them signing 75 first team players and not quite managing to get a tune out of them yet?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? When you look at every club's signing policy, though, if you look at the Premiership clubs during the summertime as well, Gordon, every year it's 12, 13, 14 players, which is just remarkable. How do you build a team? But that's maybe for another day. But County in particular, it's remarkable when you look at the size of their squad. I mean, they've got the best part of 30 players, most of them you'd recognise immediately as well, and here they sit near the bottom of the table with 4 points. Remarkable. But I was at the first game of the season, and I remember we were tipping who we thought was going to win the Championship, and I did say St Johnstone, and they beat Thistle 5-1 that day, and there was worrying signs for Thistle at that point. But as I said earlier, Mark's got them turned round, and they've got a good balance about their team. They've got experience in the right place. I think he's built his team. Lee Ashcroft and Dan O'Reilly, good solid Championship players, most of their career, dipped into the Premiership a couple of times. Oisin Smith has been signed because he couldn't get a game for St Mirren, but he contributed a lot for St Mirren. He likes a Tony Watt up front as well, and then he's bringing in a lot of young players around them, so I think he's got a decent balance to his team. But the key is games like this, and I know Arbroath have started the season really well, but Arbroath at home is a game, if you're going to win the league or you're going to be right up at the top, then you have to win, and time after time over the years, this is a kind of banana skin that Thistle would slip on. So I'm really interested to see the improvement in Thistle's team from that first game of the season when it was 5 going on 8 or 9. I mean, they were well beaten that day. But when you've got Ross County near the bottom as well, and you've got Dunfermline not firing all cylinders, you're top Ayr United there as well, picked up a wee bit recently, but they've not started the season particularly well. So there's a real opportunity, I think, for Thistle if they can get a win here. They're right up there, and they're just increasing that gap between the teams that you would think would be challenging at the top.
Yes, so we're looking forward to the Championship as well, because that's at least got a full card on the go. Airdrie Morton and Dunfermline Queen's Park, the other two fixtures that we haven't yet mentioned. 2 in the top flight for now, 1 to come later, and loads tomorrow, so you don't have to go anywhere. It's miserable out there. You might as well enjoy what Gordon Dalziel, Hugh Keevins and Ross McCormack have got to offer, because kick-off in those 3 o'clock games is coming next.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Gordon Dalziel and Ross McCormack are in the studio. We've got the top team keeping you covered from 2 big Premiership games at 3, a big Championship game that we've hand selected, and plenty preview material to come as well, because this weekend is going to be blockbuster, starting with these games, then on to the Edinburgh Derby, then on to 3 big games tomorrow. You can't take your eyes off it. What you can usually bank on is that these 3 duds will not get a make-believe ACCA between them. You've only got 3 games, 2 in the Premiership. I'll only ask for 1 in the Championship. What are you giving me?
The king of duddery gives you Kilmarnock St Mirren a draw, Dundee United beat Livingston, and Partick Thistle beat Arbroath.
Go on, Roscoe.
I'm going to say Livingston, Dundee United draw. I fancy St Mirren.
That's enough.
St Mirren to beat Kilmarnock away from home. And is it the Championship game? Yes.
Thistle or Arbroath?
Thistle.
I'm going home 1 Kilmarnock, home 1 Dundee United, and a draw.
Your old pal Mark Wilson flying, Tony Watt banging them in.
I'm with Fraser. I think these are kind of games. The weather today, he's a footballing team, it's got to be difficult. A draw.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get set for the season with expert pharmacy support.
Well, that's us then. We're underway. Let's wait and see where the first goal in Scotland will be scored. We'll keep an eye on it. Only 1 minute past 3, so you'd have to be going some. But you never know, maybe get off to a fast start. The wind wreaking havoc, ball blown all over the place. Was it David Friel that said he watched the warm-up and there was footballs just sitting in one spot, but they were sort of rolling around? Do you know what I hope? Remember, used to go and someone would lie down, put their index finger on the top of the ball. I have no idea, but hopefully.
Remember the old days?
I know, but players, today's fancy Dan players would think, oh, that looks too old. Somebody putting their finger on the ball so you can take it. But I just wonder, is it worse days like this when you've got a synthetic surface?
I would imagine so, yeah. It'll be 100 miles an hour.
It just flies a bit further away from you.
Yeah, the one thing, I didn't mind playing the rain. Sunshine, loved, but wind, not for me.
The rain's perfect for a striker, innit?
Yeah.
Always follow in. You'll get a tap in today.
Off the goalie.
Yeah.
A striker's pitch, I called it. But the wind is incredible. It really is. So it'll be interesting to see if the boys get entertaining football.
How was the flat last night? Were you worried? And keep you awake all night, did it?
Oh, no, I'm actually
You're a deep
okay.
sleeper, are you?
Yeah, I'm very deep sleeper. I'm actually okay, especially when I wasn't at the flat.
Oh, there was a programme on
I don't know if it's still there. Somebody will need to tell me.
There was a programme on Van Morrison at 11:30 last night. That was me made up. Late to bed.
How many?
Many what?
Reds.
Oh no. He upped it ante last night. He got a wee freebie. He was telling me in the office.
Yeah.
Stronger stuff.
He came in with a glow.
My neighbour Robert gave me a very, very handsome bottle of whiskey.
There we go. Please drink responsibly.
So
of course.
it was just me, Van, Jules Holland.
He's got an empty.
Cultured, this guy.
He's got an empty this weekend.
Cultured,
and he's
honestly.
making the most of it.
He is cultured. Anyway, the quicker we get goals, the quicker we can stop talking about what this lot got up to on a Friday night. I'm not even asking Ross McCormack, you daft. I don't want this to be the final episode of Clyde One Super Scoreboard. So let's see if we get any early drama in our matches. Hopefully a nice fast start. Even down the divisions, I would take that. Plenty of talking points. Even down, I like the look of that. I saw it described as a derby.
What's a derby?
Clyde and East Kilbride. This morning.
Nah, I'm not having that.
But nevertheless, I felt like that jumped out as a good fixture from League Two.
Yeah, especially East Kilbride, disappointing last week against Dannon, sitting in second, so a little bit of gap there with Spartans, so they need to go and get a good result, a positive result, and I think they'll win this afternoon. It will be difficult. Clyde are sitting just below them in the table, so that'll be a good game, entertaining game.
The set piece coach from East Kilbride wasn't all that happy.
How do you become a set play coach?
Well, I think, to be fair, I don't think.
What is that?
I don't think he is that. But we just like.
What is he then?
I think he's the coach who does a lot of work on the set pieces. Scott Allen. It's not like it's not his job title or anything.
Yeah.
So we just like to wind him up when
Was
he's
he
in
off
here.
last Saturday?
I think he took. Yeah, he was.
Did he take a day off?
Phoned in sick. We are underway in our Premiership matches as well. St Mirren with a corner. Declan John's cross to the back post was scrambled away. The ball is steady for now. Oh no, it's rolling away. It's rolled off the corner. Good.
Dear.
It's going to be one of those days. We'll get the game finished at about 8 o'clock tonight. We do have Scottish goals, just not up the divisions. Kelty Hearts 1, Peterhead 0. Rico Diak with the goal. And East Fife 1, Cove Rangers 0. Kieran Miller with the goal there. So League One is where it's at so far. Hopefully the remainder of the divisions will join in. What about your teaser, Hugh? We could do that right now, couldn't we? Hold on. Alex Gogic with a header. Gordon Dalziel's pal from the school gates, but he has glanced it wide. We've got a goal in the Championship though.
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
Partick Thistle 1, Narberth 0. They have been starting quickly in recent weeks, and they've done it again. Logan Chalmers in terrific form, and it's taken him under 5 minutes today to net the opener. It's a left foot curler. He's more than capable of that. Set up by Aidan Fitzpatrick, and Mark Wilson's Partick Thistle are in front already.
The Maryhill Mourinho, but fair play to them. 5 wins on the bounce going into today's game. It'd be wonderful if they could build upon the Logan Chalmers goal, make it 6 in a row. They need St Johnstone to drop points. They're 6 points adrift of St Johnstone, but they have a game in hand. They could do with a shock at McDermott Park today.
Yeah, brilliant start. He seems to get them really up for it early, and they get that early goal. They've been doing that in the last few weeks. Brilliant for him. Look, it's up to him. He's sitting there in second. I know at pre-season he was a bit concerned about the size of the squad, but they've certainly added to that. They've got a bit of quality there, and they're just on that roll. They're playing with confidence. They believe they can win most games after a disastrous start at Perth. But you're right, Hugh, I think they're needing St Johnstone to fall off it a little bit. I'm just sitting and I'm looking outside and I'm looking at the weather and I'm thinking, what would be the worst ground in Scotland just now to play it?
Arbroath.
Surely Perth, McDermott Park comes.
Oh, there'll be a few contenders,
but there are
no,
four.
but Arbroath are playing it.
I know, but that would be always. It's bad there in August.
Yeah, but I'm talking about today with Storm Amy floating about Scotland.
Ross County.
There'll be a chance though, won't there? You think of St Johnstone's ground, the way they like to play football when it starts to cut up around end of November, December time, it might hamper their play, so they might drop a few points then. But Logan Chalmers, got to say,
good
5
player,
goals,
eh?
8 games, unbelievable start.
Yeah, 5 goals in the Championship already.
Yeah.
I think 7 maybe all competitions, 7 or 8, so going really well at the moment, as are Partick Thistle overall. So 1-0 against Arbroath. That's our first goal in our featured matches. What about your teaser, please, Hugh?
Okay.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
In honour of the Greyfriars Bobby Derby, which is taking place at Tynecastle this evening, who were the last 6 players to cross the Hearts Hibs divide? In other words, they went from one to the other, played for both, and they also played for another current Scottish Premiership team. The last 6 players to cross the Hearts Hibs divide and also to have played for another current Scottish Premiership team.
Just in case so it's been unclear, they don't have to have gone directly from Hibs to Hearts or Hearts to Hibs. So the very basic, they've played for Hibs, they've played for Hearts, and they've played for another current Scottish Premiership team.
Yep.
Okay, let's see what we can come up with. It is a race, so get thinking, get answering at Clyde SSB. Of course, if you don't think you can come up with all of the 6 answers, just chuck a couple in there, see how far you can get at Clyde SSB, and we will announce the winners in about 35 minutes time. The wind is making controlling the ball a bit of a task down there at Rugby Park. Richardson and then Idowu both falling over the ball. Blaming the wind
that
on
might
that?
not be the wind.
I was going to say
that might be ability.
Sounds
There's a different word for
sounds
it.
like David Frail's been generous on that, but hopefully that one does break out into a bit of a football match soon. The only goal, as we mentioned, is that one at Partick Thistle. I don't have any real method to this. I sporadically mention English goals that you might be interested in. Man United, who can't do anything right, they are 1-up on Sunderland at the moment.
It's a big weekend for Ruben Amorim and for Ange Postecoglou. You know, the talk in England is that if Ange Postecoglou takes Nottingham Forest to Newcastle tomorrow and they lose, Ange is out.
How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that?
But look at the owner of the club.
I know. Listen, Hugh, I'm with you there. But you bring a manager in. He's not even. That's not his players, right? They played in a different style under the old manager. You bring a manager in. He's 6 games in, 6 games, and the fans are wanting him out. It's ridiculous.
Lost all 6. So.
It doesn't matter. It's absolutely ridiculous. You've got to give him time. He's not his players. He's changed the style. You know, Postecoglou, when Nottingham Forest played last season, they played on the counter-attack in the sense of they dropped deep, they made it very difficult, and they went, Ange is a different manager. He likes to play in the front foot, get forward quickly, everything attacking style. You've got to give the guy at least 7 games.
I think what you got to take into consideration as well is, and I know Russell Martin at Rangers referenced this, since Ange took the job, he's been there 3-4 weeks. He's had a game every single midweek as well. So he's had no time on the training pitch to even try and implement this change of style, which is clearly going to happen. So it's ludicrous. To
bring everything back to Scottish football here, another part that I've seen pounced upon by Rangers fans today. When I spoke to Russell Martin for Sky Sports this morning, he spoke about, I think it was in relation to the question about Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell, and he spoke about everyone wanting to do what's right for the club, and you know, to be judged so early is harsh. You know, it was words along those lines.
Yeah.
people are now, because what's considered early now is entirely different from what it used to be. But
Correct.
people are now pointing out that, well, it's October.
Yeah.
You know, and it's 15, 16, 17 games. We talked about it last night. This notion that people thought he'd be going after Bruges. Bruges was 5.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you wonder when it. Although this would have been considered early back in the day, when do we get to the stage where it's actually not considered early anymore?
For the Rangers fans, you have already reached that
think
stage.
so.
Yeah. Russell Martin is not wanted by the supporters of it. You know, I have never, ever, ever, in a long history of watching these two clubs, watched it, Celtic and Rangers go through the kind of stuff they're going through now. And Russell Martin exists in an era where Graham Potter at West Ham United get 25 games. That's the English Premier League. In Germany, Erik ten Hag got 2 games. 2 with Bayer Leverkusen. So we live in that kind of world. My one thought on this in favour of Russell Martin is that I really don't know if Andrew Kavanagh and 49ers Enterprises truly get this. I'm not sure. They come in occasionally, they have a look and they go away again. I'm not sure that they have been given a full appraisal of just how febrile things have become in Glasgow with regard to Russell Martin, the CEO Patrick Stewart, the Director of Football Kevin Thelwell. I don't think if you live in Philadelphia you have your finger on the pulse of Govan.
But what about when you phone your CEO who runs the club day to day and say, "How was Austria, Patrick?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Well,
surely
not ideal."
Surely Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell have certainly got a handle on what's happening here in Glasgow. Of course they are. They're round about the club. They're getting approached in hotels after games, which isn't comfortable at all for anyone. The place is a shambles just now. You look at, even the Rangers fans are looking, forget on the pitch, forget Russell Martin, they're looking at the appointments that's happening above Russell Martin that they're struggling to understand a little bit. The club's all over the place.
I read one comment this morning, Daz, someone saying, are they taking advantage of Andrew Kavanagh and 49ers Enterprises by appointing the Director of Football's son into a role at Ibrox? Are they taking advantage of the fact that they perhaps aren't paying enough attention?
Fraser Wishart, quite right, he's just popped in my ear and said that the most important clause in a manager's contract these days is how much he gets when he gets sacked.
Entry and exit, that's the two things you look at. When you come in and when you leave, and how much you're going with. And I would love to be a football manager that get 2 days or 2 games out.
Wrap it straight away.
Oh yeah, that would have been like Australia all over for me. Walk in, 2 games, carry a bag. Oh no.
You can tell us, Gordon. You were with him at 9 o'clock this morning. How does Russell Martin strike you, his persona?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, he thought he was getting manager of the month when he walked
Trying to
in.
be right on the spot. Yeah, obviously not as chipper as he used to be, and I think very determined to put a brave face on.
Yeah,
but impossible to be totally convincing within that.
He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would like to show vulnerability.
Yeah,
in a television interview, because
trying to always put across that he's got a handle on where it's gone wrong and how that can be fixed. And by the way, that's not a huge criticism. Maybe that's what you would do.
Hugh, do you think it'd be sort of big relief for Russell Martin, right? Because I think Fraser's right. We've all been in situations getting criticised, right? I've been it as a manager, protests, everything. Roscoe's had stick. Fraser probably most out. Everybody every day as well. He's put that right after his footballing career. But as a manager, as Russell Martin, he knows how bad it is. Do you think he's sitting there going, take a bit of pressure off me, come in, offer me a deal, the exit as Fraser was talking about, and get me out of here? Because he's not going to resign, because money is king. Right? And he'll be on a few quid, so he's not going to resign. So is it up to the powers above to come in and take that responsibility away from him?
Would that depend on how he truly feels about whether he can win the fans back over, because obviously he says, and again, this is not about saying Russell Martin's lying, I think it's just naturally what you would do. He feels that if they win loads of games, that they'll obviously head back in a more positive direction. You all think that he cannot win those fans back. In his most private moment, if it was just you and him over a coffee and you asked him, do you think you can win the fans back? If the answer is no, then surely he does lean towards that outcome that you mentioned there, where you kind of almost wish you were put out of your misery.
Every manager that's worked in football, I would say, correct. If you go and get results, you can turn it round. You can win the fans, or you can win a trophy. You can get the fans on your side. This is the only case where I believe that he can't, and it's incredible.
I think if his problems, the club's problems, the team's problems, if they start to impinge on your family life, then I think it's a different matter. But as I understand it, Russell Martin family are still down south and will not be coming here. As Steven Gerrard had that arrangement, his family didn't come to Glasgow. Philippe Clement, I'm not sure that his family came to Glasgow. So I think if things became even more of a personal nature where Russell Martin was concerned, he would have to be fair to himself and say, I'm so obviously not wanted here, I'd be as well going. But we haven't reached that stage yet, and there is no indication whatsoever that Rangers have it in mind to part company with Russell Martin.
Well, Hugh, I think it's alright saying it's not going to affect his family life if his family's down south, but for me, what's Russell Martin's life look like right now? He must be sitting in the house every single night, more or less by himself, scared to leave the house, because even more so what he's seen with Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell the other night, that will happen to him wherever he goes in Glasgow. And
I don't say this lightly, but I hope he doesn't listen to Clyde One Super Scoreboard. I mean, usually I would hope everybody listened, but it'd be best if he just...
Well, I mean, he's a big boy. I mean, at the end of the day...
I say that was said there, the amount of stuff that's said, the depth of it, the verging on personal nature, which we'll try and kind of police to a point, but you also need to let people say how they feel.
Well, and that's my problem where Russell Martin's concerned. The depth of ill feeling towards him is such. Tens of thousands of people chanting where they want him to go every game, not just once in a while, every game.
But the problem he's got is he can go and win the next 7 games 2-0, 3-0, look handsome. That eighth game, if they draw that 8th game, he's back to square one and the fans are back again.
Everybody's saying that, Roscoe, but I'm looking at a Rangers team that I don't think's capable of winning 7-8 games. I watched them the other night. They've got 2 or 3 players that I think are decent enough players, and the rest of them are the Joe average of Rangers Football Club for me.
But then see, on the other hand, for me, Gordon, I don't think that the Rangers team's bad enough to go and lose 3 in a row or 4 in a row, which will then force the owner's hands to make the decision.
They haven't won back-to-back games at any stage since Russell Martin took over the team. You know, that kind of statistic, they haven't managed to win back-to-back games yet.
How's your teaser looking, Hugh? Remind me of that question if you can, and we'll maybe try and guide people along in the right direction.
Who were the last 6 players to cross the Hearts-Hibs divide and also to have played for another current Scottish Premiership team?
Okay, Jim Ban would like to throw in Gordon Jury.
Not Jukebox, no.
Jim, your list looks pretty good apart from that, so you're not a million miles off. Sean Ross wants to throw in Ian Westwater.
And I'll tell you why it's not the right answer, Sean. He was at both clubs but never played a game.
Ooh,
who's that?
Okay,
Ian Westwater.
Maybe should have mentioned that. Jamie Dock, I think he's in the right ballpark with a couple, but Callum Patterson's never played for Hibs.
No.
David Witherspoon never played for Hearts.
Nope.
Craig Halkett never for Hibs.
Nope.
Ryan Porteous never for Hearts. Jamie Dock. So what else have we got there? Yeah, I can see some more very good, very close guesses coming in, so keep going with those at Clyde SSB. It's quite a tricky list.
Got any, Roscoe? You're looking a bit confused there. I know that's normal.
I think I've got 2.
You've got 2.
Don't read them out. Don't read them out.
I've got 2, I think.
I'll get 6 in my head. But okay.
Just not telling anyone.
No, I'm not telling them to 1:45 because they'll steal them.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust these two. I wouldn't trust them. But anyway, that's your first half teaser. Keep them going at Clyde SSB, and we'll see what we can come up with. I'll probably reveal the answers just before half time. Do I forget sometimes and leave it to the half time break? Yes, absolutely. But we'll see what today brings. No other updates really yet. Moller's lashed one over for Dundee United. It was a nice reverse pass to set up the chance. Probably United's first real threat. Livy actually had looked quite good in the early stages. The big coach must have trained them extra hard this week.
He was very confident Tuesday. I was having a chat with him. Said that they took a bit of confidence for the Rangers game, and rightly so. They'd have been disappointed losing that 94th minute winner for Rangers. But it's a good time to get Dundee United, because you're right, Gordon. I think obviously the job that Jim's doing up there, brilliant for him. To lose to Kilmarnock, and then it's another home game today, it would be a little bit edgy because they're getting big crowds up there. They're expected to win that today. They'll make it tight, but I think Dundee United will edge that this afternoon.
Gogic header is still the only chance between Kilmarnock and St Mirren. It would really be nice if we'd get a bit more entertainment, given that we've got a reduced card today. There's a Livingston player down getting treatment. Dave Galloway thinks it might be Stevie May. He was easier to identify when he had the ponytail.
Yeah.
But kind of blends in a bit more now. I was quite interested to see his inclusion and performance last week, Gordon, because I think, don't mean to sound unfair, but there may be a school of thought that Stevie May leading the line in the Scottish Premiership now, maybe a bit beyond, but I thought he played pretty well against Rangers last week.
Times he couldn't get a game in the Championship last year. I thought he had a couple of good chances, especially early on. Good save from Butland. And then the one he cuts in the second half, his right foot, I think if he goes across the goalkeeper, he's got a better chance of scoring. But the one thing you'll get about Stevie May, and that's why I think David Martindale plays him in games like this, his work rate's brilliant. He'll go and put a shift in for the team, there's no doubt about that. Lacks a little bit of quality at that final third for me, but he's a good team player, Stevie May, and a good experienced player.
He's what I would call a pest.
Yeah. There's an important goal there. It's 1 versus 2 in the League One, and 2 is beating 1 at the moment, because Hamilton Accies have got a goal up in Inverness Cali Thistle, and that, if the scoreline was to turn into a result, would put the Accies top of the league. So well done, John Rankin.
Absolutely. Hamilton Accies 1, Inverness Cali Thistle 0. Kevin O'Hara with the goal on 22 minutes. I think Stevie May's still getting treatment after being caught by a tackle there, so maybe a bit of a delay to Dave Galloway's game. Shamal George with a goal kick. We've seen how effective St Mirren can be when they take that direct approach up to the front too. We saw it a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? In the game against Kilmarnock, it goes straight through to Ayunga, but then George Stanger with the block.
You always find out what team's hitting with the wind in the first half. What would you have?
Do you think that matters now?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Do you not? Would you rather play against the wind or with the wind?
I think if you're a football team, you would probably rather play against the wind, unless it's ridiculously strong.
No, I'm with the wind, because when you turn to run, it gives you that extra spur for the back.
So does the guy that's chasing you.
That's a good point.
That is a fair point, right? But you've got a head start on him because he's facing, you've turned and you're away.
Let's see how much you pay attention, because this has been widely reported since he signed. George Stanger, Kilmarnock. What's the famous sporting link in his family?
Is it his brother?
It is not his brother.
His father, then?
Correct.
His father is a famous hockey player.
I knew it was going to be the wrong sport.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go for something even more ridiculous, but fair play to you. Hockey's quite a ridiculous shout.
It's rugby.
Is it?
Tony Stanger's his dad.
I don't know who that is.
He was Scotland's joint record try scorer at one point, I'll have you know.
I only know
Gavin Hastings.
Kellogg. Remember him?
Oh, you ever heard this story from Gordon Dalziel? Was sitting with Al Kellogg and said to him, you ever play rugby yourself, pal?
Hadn't a clue who he was. He went, yeah, I'll get about 55 caps for Scotland.
Does not surprise me. He's Elgin City, sorry. Ilgan City 0, 4-1. Jake Sutherland with the goal there. What's happening here? It's we've got a change, is it, for Dundee United? Stevie May's up at the moment. St Mirren seem to have the wind, David Friel says, but it's swirling. That's what they always say, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you say when you're standing in the tee box.
It's swirling. Yeah.
Just to get your excuses. Incidentally, did I see the Dunhill's been postponed for the day? You wouldn't have liked those conditions yesterday, would you?
Do you know something? I watched it yesterday and I loved my golf, but I would have just walked off. I don't care who I was playing with, whether he played in the Ryder Cup last year. I'd have says, Tam, Fleeto, I'm away at the clubhouse for a Hugh Keevins.
Especially when you're still hungover from the Ryder Cup last weekend.
Yeah, I am not going down there.
That'll blow the cobwebs away.
I've got to say, and by the way, there's some good Andy Murray.
It makes you sick,
pride
doesn't
of
it?
Scotland.
Just makes you sick how these guys can just do everything.
Good, he's only picked it up about 2 years and he was absolutely
honestly,
brilliant.
Makes you sick. Anyway, Anderson plays it to Dackers after a mistake by King, but it's a poor touch from Dackers. He would have been clean through. Stuart Kettlewell will be a bit frustrated that didn't lead to the chance that he hoped it might. Obviously did ever so well, as we alluded to earlier, in their previous game up there at Tannadice, back for home comforts. And right on cue though,
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
it is Kilmarnock 1, St Mirren 0, and it is David Watson bang in form. Remember, Scotland's young player of the year 2 seasons ago. Then didn't really get going last season, didn't start a lot of games under Derek McInnes. He looks back with a bang this season, and he has scored. It was Bruce Anderson with the shot, followed in by David Watson, and we have our first goal in the Premiership today.
Well, Kilmarnock delighted, but you can never take anything for granted. One doesn't mean you've beaten Stephen Robinson and St Mirren. However, Watson, definitely one to watch. He'll be the next big thing to leave Kilmarnock.
Yeah, I think, was it David that highlighted that duel between
Killian Phillips and David Watson?
Yeah, David Watson. Good result last week up at Tannadice. I picked him. I've picked him this week again. I've gone with the Rugby Park side, and they've got off to a great start.
Yeah, I think, is that his third goal in the league this season? Great start for him. Didn't play much last year. Looks to be back to his best, so fair play.
Yeah, well done to David Watson, and Kilmarnock taking the lead there against St Mirren. It was a funny sort of time last year, Gordon, because when you win Young Player of the Year, I think people expect the next season is going to be not always better, but certainly that you at a minimum play a more prominent role in the team, and that just didn't happen for him. So good to see, even from an international perspective, him kicking on again.
Yeah, he's one of our best young players. He just needed game time. Dell used him sparingly. Obviously Dell's an experienced manager, worked with him, just nurtured him along, and obviously Kelwell coming in has just put him on another level, and he's obviously producing the Premier League just now. That's brilliant for Scotland as well, and it's brilliant for a young player.
Stevie May's free kick to the edge of the box. Danny Wilson heads wide, so Livy looking to threaten. There was a change at Eskinen for Yovu for Dundee United at the back there. Have we got anyone with all the correct answers yet on this teaser? None.
No, I've none. I've got 4.
Right, go on, Hugh. I want to help people.
5
I'm
or
feeling
6.
charitable today. Give me the question again. I'm going to start dishing out some clues.
Who were the last 6 players to cross the Hearts-Hibs divide and also played for another current Scottish Premiership team?
So, in theory, a simple question. They've played for Hearts, they've played for Hibs, they've played for another current Scottish Premiership team. Lots of you are floating around with the right idea, but I don't think we've got anyone with them all. A couple of clues I'll dish out for you. One of them is a current SPFL manager down the leagues.
Oh yeah, I've got him.
Oh, you've got him, huh?
He's the easy one.
Okay.
Played golf with him a couple of years ago and tucked him over.
I'm sure that really helps the listeners out there.
Yeah.
Another
he played
one,
with a green ball.
Another one who played for Hibs and Hearts, also played for Celtic. Give you that as a wee clue as well. And a couple of fullbacks in there, if that helps you in any way. Keep them coming. Let's see if we can get them all. There's actually one. I'm going to launch my own steward's inquiry on one of the answers. There you go.
All right.
Yeah, I'll just sit quietly and do it in my own time, and I'll report back to you. But that Kilmarnock goal, the last one that we had here in Scotland, actually quite short down the leagues as well. I'm looking at that Championship, not a great deal happening. Ross County, Wraith County need to start getting a move on, Hugh.
Yeah, bizarre. You know, Callum Davidson, Tony Docherty there. Rich in experience. Callum Davidson, twice a trophy winner, a St Johnstone manager. And it's made zero difference. They cannot get the second bottom of the table when they should be looking to be top with the squad they've got.
Oh, I totally agree with you. If you look at their squad, it's incredible. The amount of players, the experience, the money they're spending, the manager, the assistant manager, John Robertson's up there. You just wonder who's next going to Dingwall. But it's not making any difference. They need a result today. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind they need a result today.
Man United have got a second. Benjamin Sesko 2-0 up against Sunderland. David Friel quite right to point out, we're talking a lot about David Watson. His contract's up in the summer, so it becomes crunch time really, just to see what if he's not going to commit, then it has to be January, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to cash in, and there will be plenty of people who will be very interested in David Watson, and I think that's the big decision. I don't see him renewing his contract at Kilmarnock if he's aware of bigger clubs out there.
He'll have to then. It will be January, you're right, Gordon. I think when I left Motherwell to go down south, there was a very minimum cross-border fee. So you would, if you're Kelly, you'd be looking to get a lot more than that in the January window to make it worthwhile.
Training compensation would still be payable, Mr. PFA Scotland tells us, which is of course the case. He also needs to be something out there. I'm not trying to say there hasn't been, but I don't recall loads of noise about transfers previously, like last summer or whatever. Would have been a difficult time maybe because he hadn't played as much as the season before.
But he's in a good place.
If he can really play himself in to people's minds before January, maybe it's something Kelly would have to do. Yeah,
Kelly are doing okay. He's scoring goals. He's a regular in the first team. There will be teams down south probably, or abroad, whatever it may be, certainly take notice of him. You would imagine there are a few scouts there today watching.
I looked at Ben Gannon-Doak last night. Bournemouth beating Fulham 3-1. Bournemouth now second top of the English Premier League, 1 point behind Liverpool. So that's the kind of thing that young men look at. You don't have to go to Man U or Arsenal or Liverpool. You could be at Bournemouth like Ben Gannon-Doak.
Please do me a favour, Hugh. Please don't tip Bournemouth to win the English Premier League. Champions-elect Bournemouth won last night.
I'm thinking way back. I don't mean to add another quiz question to the mix, but it must have been a while since Kilmarnock got a transfer fee for a player going out the way. Can't recall too many. Please, Kilmarnock fans, if that's ignorance from me and I've overlooked one, you can put me in my place.
Did they not get one for the big defender in the summer?
Do you know what? They did, Corey and Daba.
Yeah,
there you go. So you only had to go back a couple of months. But before that, didn't include
Chris
that.
Boyd.
And Bobby Wales the summer, right? So actually this summer they've done fine. But I'm thinking the last few seasons I don't recall too many.
Was Bobby Wales out of contract in the summer as well?
He went down to Swansea, didn't he?
That'll give you an idea of the level of fee that they'll be.
Here we go, let me tell you about this.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee United 0, Livingston 1, and it's Mr. Livingston himself, Scott Pittman, on 34 minutes. May rolled him in, Esselink with the mistake, that was intercepted. Stevie May to Scott Pittman, tap in. He's still going strong, like we said. Mr. Livy, Dundee United 0, Livy 1, and it's Scott Pittman with the goal.
Well, I said at the start of the programme, Livy have so far scored more league goals than Celtic, and now they've added another one to go even further in front of Celtic in the goal scoring. And if the scoreline becomes the result, Livy go above Rangers on the table.
More goals in that game, Hugh.
Yeah,
absolutely, more goals in that game. But great start for Livy. Well, not a great start, 34 on the clock. They've played their way into the game, got the goal. I think David Martindale about a year, 2 years ago would have probably sat back and tried to just defend that. He's playing a completely different style now. I think he'll go for the killer second one, but it's up to Jim Goodwin now to try and produce the goods.
I need to give you some clues in this teaser. We're nearly there because 3 people have got 5 out of the 6. What we need is somebody who played for Hearts and Hibs, of course. He also played for St Mirren, not for a great deal of time, but he played for St Mirren. I think he was maybe a kid at Man United as well, if I'm thinking of
I've got it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think you have.
Guaranteed that it's there. That's knowledge. Yeah.
No.
He's on the list, but
Was it? That's a different guy.
Do you not play with Man U?
No, he didn't. Let me tell you about this.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Kilmarnock 2, St Mirren 0, and it's Marcus Dackers with the goal, James Brown with the cross, a header into the top corner. I think you look at Kilmarnock's strikers, and those two in particular, Dackers and Daniels, likely to be an aerial threat. Well, Dackers it is, playing today with the header, 36 minutes gone, and that is becoming a very comfortable half of football for Kilmarnock.
Certainly is. They're on a roll after a great win at Tannadice. 2-0 up against St Mirren. I don't think a lot of people seen that coming, especially Stephen Robinson and St Mirren team. Marie Osmond will be belting out paper roses as we speak.
Well, I definitely didn't see it coming because I tipped St Mirren, didn't I?
Still plenty of time to go. There's another half. Remember, they could be shooting with the wind.
Very true, yeah. Very true.
But Stuart Kettlewell, fair play to the man. He goes to Kilmarnock. Not everyone wanted him. Last week, winners at Tannadice. This week, potential winners at home against a high-flying St Mirren side. So, for Stuart Kettlewell and the players, job well half done.
See, the one and it gets to 5:05 after VAR, they could be sitting third in the league. Just leapfrog everybody on to 10 points. They're in a great wee run and playing some good stuff. And you're right, Hugh, I think a lot of Kilmarnock supporters just didn't fancy the appointment, but he kept his head down, he stuck to his task, and he's certainly getting the rewards.
He left Motherwell in such a way that people thought they're actually quite hostile towards the idea of joining Kilmarnock as the manager. I mean, one of our regular Super Scoreboard callers, Simon, always exhibits a strong knowledge of the game and civil manner, but he came on and vehemently opposed the idea.
It's a strange summer, wasn't it? Rangers fans didn't want Russell Martin by and large.
Kettlewell.
Stuart Kettlewell not loved at Kilmarnock when he first went. Stephen Presley at Dundee.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, Russell Martin and Stephen Presley have still got some work to do to endear themselves to those fan bases. But it was a strange summer in that regard. We say Gordon, the pick of the bunch in League 2, Clyde 0, East Kilbride 1, Lewis Spence.
Big goal for East Kilbride. Obviously Clyde just sitting below them in the league. Good game. They were disappointed last week down in Annan. If they're going to be real contenders, they've got to win, especially away from home. That could be a big result, but still plenty of football to go. We've still 45 plus.
Dundee United fans are now booing their own team performance.
There you go. It doesn't last long, does it?
Scott Pittman had a chance from 12 yards. He shoots wide, puts his head in his hands, and then come the boos from the home fans.
There is a kind of militant tendency going on in Scottish football. I mean, at half time at Celtic Park on Thursday, booing away.
It's definitely a bit more. It used to be reserved for like real disastrous performances, but now it's a bit more readily available.
Maybe it's the bad weather, but people have taken on a surly attitude.
But they're not impressed with what they're seeing. And we said things can turn quite quickly. Dundee United, one of the real success stories early on in the campaign, even put up a good fight in Europe, didn't they? Go, having to play some decent teams and then going out, getting some good results. But as we alluded to, if you lose back-to-back home games against Kilmarnock and Livy, with no disrespect to them,
I'm just thinking Russell Martin now gets booed onto the touchline before the game start.
He gets booed off the team coach,
Yeah,
it's a fairly unforgiving environment at the moment. Is that East Kilbride goal going to be the final one we get before half time? Hopefully not. Always interesting when players score against their former teams. There's Declan Rice done it for Arsenal against West Ham.
You think he'd celebrate?
Why not?
I guess your
players just don't, do they?
Former team, I'd have been right over at them.
He'll have played against them a few times now.
What did they pay for him? 100 million, was it?
It was a fair whack.
I think if your employer paid £100 million for you, you'd be entitled to see you looking cheerful if you scored a goal.
Yeah, I scored a. Did you? There's no better feeling than scoring against your old team.
That sums you up. What do you mean? No better feeling.
Ah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant to score against your old team.
I don't think I actually did. In Australia I did, I know that, but obviously no one knows anything about Australia.
No one cares.
Listen, I know a lot about Australia. Get it out there.
So even though when you went, because you at Leeds and Fulham you were quite prolific, but you never scored against Leeds for Fulham. You never scored against Cardiff for Leeds.
No, I had a shocker when I went back to Cardiff for Leeds. I think I broke my ankle inside 5 minutes or something like that. That's the only time I think I played against them that season. But no, I think I only done it in Australia. Central Coast scored against Melbourne City.
Was there a big discourse about celebrating again? Did they care?
Melbourne City had about 3 fans at the game, so no one really bothered.
There you go. Stirling Albion have equalised against Dumbarton. Breaking your ankle against your former team's not great though.
Yeah, it was a naughty tackle as
was
well.
It?
Yeah. Sort of.
Who from? Let's dig him out.
What was his name? Jordan Much.
Right, okay.
He used to play for Crystal Palace as well.
Sort
of went past them, and on the other side he scissor tackled me, and I could feel it about to snap because it was caught under his backside.
Do you think they targeted you, mate, because you were the informed player at the time?
I don't think so, no, because see, that
get a wee chubby guy on the left hand side. Get him out early. We won the game.
The wee chubby guy. I was fit back then.
There are obviously certain things that you'll never escape, and you've owned them and you've spoken about them many times. I typed in YouTube Ross McCormack broken ankle. Now you know when you search for things, it's like keywords will pick up. What do you think it talks about? Doesn't it talk about a broken ankle?
Possibly a broken gate.
Broken gate. There you go. Top response. You'll never shake it.
A broken gate?
Oh, don't. As if you've not heard this story.
I haven't.
I'm not putting him through it again. Let's move on. Poor guy's here, giving up his time, and you're going to slag him about his broken gates.
I'll look at that.
How have you not heard?
I've not heard that one.
Remember he was at Aston Villa and his gate was broken, so he couldn't make it to training. He couldn't get out his house, and Steve Bruce dug him out for it.
Oh, was that you? I didn't, honestly, I'd heard that story, but I didn't know that was you on my life.
Anything, do you?
No, really, no. No, it's not important to me.
Anyway, we're nearly at half time. Should we round off the teams? Or maybe, I think. Yeah, do you know what, actually? We've got a lot of people who are nearly there. We've got 2 people who've got it right, so we still need one final person to make up the podium. So read it one final time, and I'll actually just round it off at the half-time break.
Who were the last 6 players to cross the Hearts-Hibs divide, and also to have played for another current Scottish Premiership team?
Right, don't say I'm not good to you. One of them, a current SPFL manager who played for Hibs and Hearts and Celtic, amongst others. Another one who played for Hibs, Hearts and Celtic. He was a Scotland striker, kind of late 90s. There's another one who played for Hibs, Hearts, started at Celtic, played for Dundee United, played for Hamilton Accies. There's a fullback, Hearts, Hibs. He also played for Aberdeen. I think he finished his career at Falkirk, maybe, in a sort of player coaching role. The one that was getting a lot of people confused, Hearts and Hibs, played a season at St Mirren, was a kid at Man United. And the last one, Hearts and Hibs, and played for Dundee United and St Johnstone, and had a good career down south as well. So come on, get them in at Clyde SSB. We're nearly there. 2 of you are on the podium. I need just one more to make that up. We're in late drama territory at the end of the first half. The next chance to have a go at goal at Tannadice is Livy again.
Oh,
Stevie May, the shot parried by Kucherenko in goal.
Do you know what? We and rightly so, we go on about Jim Goodwin or Stephen Robinson and the kind of job that do Stuart Kettlewell. Davy Martindale just flies under the radar. No one ever mentions him. And as I say, if he wins that game today, he goes above Rangers in the table. He does a terrific job for them. He took them down and he said he wanted to take them back up again, and he did. And they are more than holding their own in the Premiership right now. So Davy Martindale, step forward and take a bow.
Yeah, I think David works very hard at it with Big Marv. They're a good team, and obviously Brian Rice in there as well. Good experience. They're always going to be difficult. They're well set up, they're well drilled. I still think it's a long season for them. I still think they'll be down near the bottom of the league. I don't think they'll be relegated. I don't think they'll be in the playoffs, but I think that if David keeps them up,
they would take that, wouldn't they? Let's be honest.
100%. If he keeps them up, he will be over the moon.
Well, so far so good. That doesn't mean to say that they'll win today. Let's wait. There's a half-time whistle starting to go. Ross County 0, Raith Rovers 0. Everyone just keeps waiting on Raith Rovers to spring into life with all those players that they've signed. I'm sure I counted them the other night. I think a first team squad of about 28.
That's incredible, isn't
Quite
it?
a lot for the Championship. I'm sure it was about that anyway.
Yeah, and probably on decent money as well.
Because they were still adding at the moment. That was the thing. Sean Mackey went on loan from Falkirk, got injured straight away in his first bounce game. Trevor Carson went up there. That was just this week. They added another couple.
You wonder what's going on, because they have got good players that are well capable of going a great run in that Championship. There's no doubt about it, but they just can't find a win.
Trevor Carson's a top signing as well for me. I still think he's got a lot to offer.
He was brilliant at Motherwell early on. I just feel, you sometimes overlook that personal bit that all you guys go through. And remember, there was I think Celtic wanted to buy him, and Motherwell couldn't let him go. Was it deep vein thrombosis or something like that was really damaging for him. So the types of setbacks that you guys have to deal with that sometimes get forgotten about. Although the league leaders aren't firing yet either. St Johnstone 0, Ayr 0.
Yeah, well, see, that's the kind of break that Partick Thistle need. They are one up Thistle, but they need St Johnstone to drop points.
Half-time Rugby Park. Here's David Friel.
Half-time Gordon Kilmarnock 2, St Mirren 0. A lot of happy Kelly fans around me. The wind is blowing and Kelly are flying thanks to goals from David Watson and Marcus Stacker. Stuart Kettlewell's side, total control at the break. They've been really good and they'll surely feel they can see this one out, although you would expect St Mirren to improve in the second half. They haven't worked Kelly keeper Max Stryk at all, and they do need a big improvement from Stephen Robinson's side. Actually, the first chance, Alec Gogic headed wide from a Declan John corner after about 8 minutes, but chances were really scarce after that. Jonah Ayunga did have a drive blocked after a long kick from Shamal George. Good defending from George Stanger there. It's been a battle in the wind, but Kilmarnock have a warrior and David Watson, the midfielder, made a big difference yet again. Energetic running, he's all over the place, and he got the opening goal in 28 minutes. We gave him the big build up before the game. He's been absolutely excellent, and his goal capped, as I said, that really all action display. Greg Kiltie started to move a ball over the top for Bruce Anderson. Striker raced away from the defence, kept his shot low. It was a really good effort. Shamal George made a good save, but David Watson, he reacted first. He followed in and tapped the ball into the empty net. 8 minutes later it was 2-0, and what a goal it was from Kilmarnock. Bruce Anderson again involved. He released James Brown down the right. The full-back whipped in a brilliant cross and deep to the back post. Marcus Stackers, he is 6'7". He needed all his height to rise highest and plant a header into the top corner. A brilliant goal. St Mirren have tried to come back in just before half time. There was a bit quick VAR check. Robbie Dees, St Mirren felt he was guilty of a handball, but Nick Walsh didn't give it. As I said, Kelly in total control. St Mirren need to improve in this second half. Half time, Kilmarnock 2, St Mirren 0.
It's an impressive first 45 minutes for sure, Hugh.
As I say, Stuart Kettlewell doing a terrific job there. And St Mirren, what happened? They haven't turned up yet, but we'll see second half if the conditions play a part. But it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like it's Kilmarnock's day.
We're not yet at half time even in our Championship game at Partick Thistle. I thought we might. Must be a bit of a delay. Half time though for Dave Galloway between Dundee United and Livingston.
Yeah, and a chorus of boos greeted the half-time whistle. Dundee United won, Livingston 0 at the interval. Livingston started very well and took the game to their hosts. Smith's powerful shot from outside the box was parried by Kucherenko, but May couldn't capitalise. Montgomery's inviting cross into the danger zone found no takers, and Smith was nearly in after Essellink's poor back pass to his keeper. Dundee United threatened at long last when a reverse pass picked out Muller, but he lacked the composure and lashed the ball over the bar. But Livy took a thoroughly deserved lead after 34 minutes after another Esselink blunder. May pounced on the ball and unselfishly rolled it across the goal mouth to Pittman for a tap-in, and they really should have doubled their advantage when the ball was knocked down to Pittman 12 yards out, but he had his head in his hands after shooting wide of target. Booing could be clearly heard from the home support at this stage, who were far from happy with their side. Jim Goodwin had changed from a back three to a back four after about half an hour, but had little or no effect, and he's got work to do during the interval, make no mistake about that. But Dundee United really should have had a thoroughly undeserved equaliser in stoppage time. Chevet blew a huge chance to score when the ball was hit over from the far side from a corner kick, but he fluffed his effort at the back post and couldn't hit the target. At the interval, it's Dundee United 1, Livingston 0.
And we do have a half-time whistle in our featured championship match between Partick Thistle and Arbroath. Here's Fraser.
Yeah, Partick Thistle 1, Arbroath 0. Really good first half from the Jags, ahead through an early goal by informed Logan Chalmers, dominating most of the half, but just that one goal to show for all their good play. They got off to the perfect start. 5 minutes, Aidan Fitzpatrick, we've seen him do it so often on the left-hand side, cuts inside, beat a couple of players, running along the 18-yard box, played a 1-2 with Watt. It looked like he'd overran it, but he managed to just toe poke it to Logan Chalmers, who first time, 14 yards in the inside right position, curled a brilliant left-foot curler into the top right-hand corner. McAdams had no chance. Left-back Paddy Redding fancied a goal, struck a really good volley with his left foot, and McAdam diving to his right pushed it away. It was a good save by the big keeper. And then just a minute later, Redding again involved, this time with a low drive across the goalkeeper, and the keeper dived to his left to hold it. Skipper Lee Ashcroft saw his head loop onto the top of the net. Thistle dominating, Clark a virtual spectator in their goals, but Arbroath are struggling to keep the ball as Thistle turned the ball over and started attack after attack. But their first chance for Arbroath, 36 minutes, Taylor Stephen turned on the ball 40 yards out from goal. He saw Clark off his line at the edge of the box, tried to chip him. Really good effort, good idea, but the wind caught the ball and blew it wide, and then they began to show a wee bit more attack towards the break. Arbroath, Stephen with a shot deflected into the side net, and at the other end Paddy Redding playing really well, whipped in another cross with his left foot. Tony Walkett's head to the ball, got a good purchase on it, but his header went straight at McAdams. This will looking good, it's all comfortable so far. I think the fans would like that second goal just to make them feel a little more at ease. Half-time, Partick Thistle 1, Arbroath 0.
And we will do a full roundup of the half-time scores next.
Fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership. It's Dundee United 0, Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 2, St Mirren 0. Of course, Hearts against Hibs still to come at 5:45. In the Championship, Airdrie 0, Morton 0, Dunfermline 0, Queen's Park 0, Partick Thistle 1, Arbroath 0, Ross County 0, Raith Rovers 0, and St Johnstone 0, Ayr United 0. Into League 1, where it sits, East Fife 1, Cove Rangers 0, Hamilton Accies 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Peterhead 1, Stenhousemuir 2, Montrose 0. Queen of the South against Alloa is also a late kick-off. In League 2, Clyde 0, East Kilbride 1, Elgin City 0, Forfar 1, Spartans 0, Edinburgh City 0, Stirling Albion 1, Dumbarton 1, and Stranraer 0, and Athletic 0. The English Premier League to finish. It was a full-time result we have between Leeds and Spurs. Leeds 1, Spurs 2, Arsenal 1, West Ham 0 at the break, and Man United 2, Sunderland 0 also at the break. We will be back ahead of the second halves when we return.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half's about to get underway. Let's round off the first half teaser, please, if we can, Hugh. Oh, that's the wrong button, for goodness sake. So the first half teaser was...
Who were the last 6 players to cross the Hearts-Hibs divide and also to have played for another current Scottish Premiership team? They are Paul Hartley, left Hibs in 2000, joined Hearts in 2003, played for Celtic. Aaron Jackson, James Keatings, Alan Mabry, Adam Eckersley and Danny Swanson.
Oh, well done if you got them. Hockey 67 was third place. Jamie Giga, perhaps? Is that how you say it? Well done, Jamie, anyway, in second. And Ricky Bahoy was the winner. Well done to you all. We'll have a Who Am I very soon indeed. I wonder if we've kicked off yet, or if we can go back around some of the grounds. I know there's changes, big changes for St Mirren, who are back underway. Bacchus, McMenamin, Lundulu all on, Mandron, King and Idowu off. So I think that tells you exactly what Stephen Robinson made of that first half performance. But the second half is underway there, so let's get going.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get set for the season with expert pharmacy support.
Big second 45 minutes coming up across the board. I'm looking forward to building up to the Edinburgh Derby as well. And of course, final thoughts from the guys ahead of tomorrow. Still get the phone in. Second half teaser, what's not to like? There are loads of things to keep you entertained on an otherwise wet and miserable Saturday afternoon. I can see goals already going in down the leagues at the start of the second half. Peterhead in front against Kelty Hearts, but hopefully our featured matches live up to it. You can just sense, Gordon Dalziel, what Stephen Robinson thinks. A triple change at the break.
I wouldn't like to have been in that dressing room at half time. I think he would have been a very angry man. Disappointed as well, because St Mirren, well known, sitting up there brilliantly in third position this league, going well in the semi-final of the Premier Sports Cup. You get away from home. Yeah, conditions are difficult. Kilmarnock are in good form, but 2-0, probably the manner that they're losing is not suitable, not acceptable, sorry, for Stephen Robinson. So, listen, quite right, ring the changes. You've got 5 subs, so you may as well try something different in the second half to get them back in the game.
A triple substitution is just an open condemnation of your team at half time.
100%, Hugh, and I don't blame him. He's probably looked at that for 45 plus minutes. Not liked what he's seen, probably not liked what he's seen from one or two of his players, and he's removed them, and that's the way it should be done. You give somebody else an opportunity to go out there and say, do you know what, I put you on the bench, you weren't happy about being left out the starting 11, go show me why.
A lot of managers usually say you've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, get out there and show me a reaction, but the fact that he's made a triple substitution at half time,
I think the modern day game's changed. I think nowadays, well, especially in mines, Ross, you get the old you get 15 minutes or you're off, but because of the amount of substitutions now, you've got 5, so you can, you know, at half time in the old days there was 2 substitutions, so if you use one of them at half time, all of a sudden you're maybe thinking, oh, I might have left myself short here. But nowadays you've got plenty of scope.
What do the 3 players who were taken off make of it all?
They'll be going brilliant. It's freezing out there. It's windy. We're at Rugby Park. There's Kelly Pie sitting there. They'll have a shower on a nice Kelly Pie.
They've already got their appearance bonus.
Exactly, mate. The appearance bonus is in the bank. So.
And incredibly, what a start to the second half for David Friel as well in that game. And it's not necessarily worked the changes. 3 Kilmarnock chances straight away. Dacker's saved, then out to Anderson, blocked. Dacker's again wide. 3 chances, 5 seconds, and they really should be 2 in front.
It sounds like St Mirren are having a nightmare in the daytime, so I can't really see them coming back for the draw that I predicted.
Well, they certainly need the next goal here, and I know that's all cliche, but Kilmarnock are full of confidence. They'll be out there. If they get another one, game, set, match, everybody can pack up and go home. But you never know. Just a little bit of luck, a set play, a goalkeeping mistake. We've seen many of them. So all of a sudden, you could be back in the game. But with the reports that David's given us for Rugby Park, it's not. You're not holding out any hope for it.
You're right as well when you say you don't want to be in that change room at half time. I've been in the change room when he's lost his rag, and I must admit he's a scary little man when he gets going.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh, you can tell he's fiery.
Yeah, he's very fiery.
Yeah,
he's angry when he's happy.
Yeah.
I remember one fateful night. As Morton score, actually, there you go, tie it all together. Airdrie 1, Morton 1, Tommy Adaloy. I remember one night Motherwell got put out of the cup at Morton. Right, the League Cup was a midweek. Ian Barraclough was the manager, Stephen Robinson was his assistant. Now, you know the geography of Morton, Hugh, and you'll have worked there many times, so with no offence to the place, not got loads of facilities, shall we say, right? So you come down, you basically just stand next to the tunnel, stand next to the pitch, and eventually the managers will come out for the interview. But the dressing room window is right there, isn't it? If you imagine Capello right to the left of the tunnel as you look at it, the away dressing room. And let's just say you could hear quite a lot of what was going on, and I'm pretty sure you could hear Stephen Robinson at the heart of it with various players, and it did not sound like somewhere you would want to be.
I remember many years ago
sorry Hugh, just let me bring you this, apologies.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's a goal for Dundee United. How's that for a response? They made changes as well. Sibbald and Fata on for Kamara and Dolchik. I think it comes from a free kick, actually, that Dundee United goal, and they are back in it straight away. That is exactly the type of response that Jim Goodwin would have been looking for. Correct says with the finish, a good finish according to Dave Galloway, and we're level. Christian Correct says just minutes into the second half.
Well, and Airdrie's response to Morton going in front has been quite rapid as well.
Certainly has, Hugh.
I was going to say, in relation to your story about Morton, and David Friel will know this to be the case, the reporters used to gather at that window, that open window at the dressing room, and get the notebooks out and just get the best quotes that way. Aberdeen go there under Alec Ferguson, Scottish Cup. Morton knocked them out. Andy Ritchie, the only goal of the game.
Remember it. And
he was known in the newspapers at that time as Furious Fergie. And we gathered at the window to hear Furious Fergie. And he didn't have to try too hard to hear him. And he went through them backwards, forwards, sideways, upwards, downwards, and then came out and completely changed his story for the press. I'm fed up coming here, playing them off the park and getting nothing. And I thought, you've just gone right through the lot of them in that dressing room for how awful they were. But
well, you should have said that to him. Listen, I think you're lying. I heard you in there to see how
Did
that
you
would have played out.
We had phone calls which still send me to bed with my bottom lip trembling.
Anyway, right, the goals are starting to go in. League 2 as well there. East Kilbride are now 2 up away to Clyde. Nathan Flanagan with the goal. Right, Hugh, I think we've probably got a window to launch your second half teaser if you are ready.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I think this is tricky. I'm looking at the dice to see if we can get this right away. I began my career at Dundee United.
Okay.
I've played for teams from the Highlands down through Angus and the Central Belt. I've been managed by Alan Stubbs, Lee Clark and Steve Clark. Who am I? Began my career at Tannadice. Played for teams from the Highlands down through Angus and the Central Belt. Been managed by Alan Stubbs, Lee Clark and Steve Clark. Who am I?
That's it. That's all you're getting. At Clyde SSB. Get it going. Let's see the answers. It's the beauty of this one is it doesn't even require that much effort. You're just throwing one name in, so it doesn't have to be a big long list. It's easier to get involved in that first half teaser. So come on, throw a name in, see what sticks. I like it. A little bit of geography in there as well. Even Gordon Dalziel stumped. He usually gets them straight away, because he's seen the answer.
No, I've not seen the answer today, and that's the truth. I know I usually tell a lie, but that's the truth today.
Why today then?
Because I've not seen the answer.
No, why suddenly tell the truth today though?
Just because it's a windy day and a cold day. I just want to be upfront and honest with the listeners. I feel that I owe them one.
Just talks so much genuine nonsense, doesn't he? Every last thing that comes out of his mouth. It's just,
that's probably a lie as well.
It is remarkable.
Yeah, I've got the team he played for, but I just can't get the name.
Right, at Clyde SSB then, let's throw some guesses in, throw some names out there. We'll have some fun with that and see who can come up with the answers first. At Clyde SSB. Oh, if Ross McCormack gets this before you, your reputation as the top Who Am I man
no chance
is done. Come on, write it down. Show me your answer.
Write it down.
Come on, let's see it. This could be a huge moment in the history of this show. I'm excited.
No, it's wrong.
Who was it then? You can say it if you're wrong.
Paul Dixon.
No.
Left back.
No.
Played for... I can't tell you who he played for.
Right, okay, let's leave it there and see what we can come up with. I was excited there. Right, that Dundee United goal I think was the last one to tell you about. Certainly in our featured matches. Nothing else doing the rounds yet.
You'd like to see Thistle get a second goal just because St Johnstone are still goalless.
Yeah, a wee second goal for Mark. An early one in the second half, like the first half. Would probably put that game to bed for him.
I'm not far. I can't be too far away from team news in Edinburgh Derby. Quite excited about that. Looking forward to that a lot tonight.
I mean, everyone has talked it up, and talked it up to epic proportions. So first and foremost, I hope the spectacle lives up to the hype, and I see no reason Ross, why it shouldn't?
No, I think it'll be a great game. I can't call it, to be honest. The easiest thing to say is to go with Hearts in it, but I think the game will be set up in such a way where it might even suit Hibs.
Well, Scott Allen said last night, and he's a former Hibby, but he said last night he thought that Hibs would win at Tynecastle.
I think it'll be set up for them to do that. Hearts will probably have the majority of the game, which might suit Hibs to hit them on the counter-attack.
Whatever it is, hopefully it'll be a good game. We've got people that can score goals, so we're looking for goals in that game tonight.
I have to say, I didn't understand the Scotland squad. Shankland. Why can Shankland not get a place there? And Steve Clarke quickly dismissed Ollie Burke, going well, scoring hat-tricks in the Bundesliga. And he said, no, I'm quite happy with what I've got.
Is it not as simple as the last game and the next squad were 3 weeks apart? Usually I would agree, and we always like to see new shiny things and things change, but see because of the unique nature of this format, 3 weeks between the Belarus game and the squad being announced. 21 days. There was just never going to be changes, was there? Or like significant ones? Well,
he's a very conservative, Steve Clarke. He's not a man for look at him, I'll bring him in. That's not his makeup.
But Lawrence Shankland, it's not new. He's been doing it for years. He's the best finisher that we've got. End of story. It's not even close.
But again, Lawrence Shankland was taken to the Euros, maybe not played as much as people wanted. I'm pretty sure he was included in squads last year when things weren't going great. I just feel like I don't want to be a hypocrite because I like the debate and I would always encourage debate on this show, but it was a good camp last time. There was 4 points out of it. If you then name your next squad 21 days later, do you not retain the right to just kind of pick the same players and nobody really questions it too much?
An argument for both, isn't there? Or the argument is, do you pick especially a striker that can score goals and is in form scoring goals?
But to be fair, right, because the season's so early, Shankland's got a few, but the other strikers in the squad have all got a similar number.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because that's the way Steve Clarke goes about his business. But for Shankland, he's just got to keep scoring goals. But right, if he's playing with Rangers or Celtic just now, banging in the goals, is he in the squad?
I don't think it matters what he does, Gordon. I think it's really as simple as Steve Clarke's not having him, but
that's what I mean. He has had him.
But see, Lawrence Shankland, I look at it, right, if Scotland need a goal and it doesn't have to start, but if Scotland need a goal and you're looking down the bench, I would look past every other striker in that squad and take Lawrence Shankland.
No, I don't disagree with the notion of that, but I'm talking about once you're not in the last squad and it's then 3 weeks passes, I just don't think that's enough time for things, because Lawrence Shankland's got 16 Scotland caps, right? So Steve Clarke, if Steve Clarke wasn't having him, I don't think he would have as many as that.
He should have been in the last squad as well, though.
But that's what I'm saying, is that when you're then,
who would you leave out?
See if you lose the two games,
George Hurst for starters.
But I think that's the point. If you lose those two games, I'm not saying you can never question a winning squad, but if you lose those two games, I think it becomes open season. But if you do things your way and you go and get the 4 points, is there really that much room for?
There's an argument for both, isn't there? Let's be honest about it. I think we just look at the fact that goals are very hard to come by for any club and player, and if you've got a guy that's banging form scoring them, get him in. He's bags of confidence.
I know, but this is what I'm saying.
I take on board your point.
It's the end of September when the squad's named, so nobody's got, like, see if this is an April squad, or there's a March international break and Lawrence Shankland's on 25 and George Hurst's on 3, I think that argument stacks up a bit more. But right now Shankland's got more because he played in a League Cup group stage games against lower league opposition, but they've all got, even Lyndon Dykes has got 2 or 3, what Shankland got in the league maybe 4-ish. I think Hurst's got 3, Bowie similar.
Yeah.
So Kieran Bowie's been kept in. It's not like it's this, because I feel like on one hand, and it's not that it's completely unfair, but Steve Clarke's accused of always picking the same and picking his favourites.
Yeah.
But Kieran Bowie's in, so he's not a favourite.
But Kieran Bowie's kept in at a time when he's gone off the boil.
But that's what I'm saying. How knee-jerk can you be? What? So he's now off the boil 2 weeks ago when he wasn't?
It'll all come down to, if you lose the first match, then they'll all say, and you left out Shankland, you deserve all you get.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the problem with the debate. How is Kieran Bowie worthy of his place in the last squad, and 3 weeks later he's described as off the boil? It can't be that knee jerk. Every successful international team tries to keep that. They always talk about it, don't they? Club mentality or whatever. And if you're changing guys every 2 and 3 weeks, you won't get that.
Yeah, but how many changes did they make? 3?
Well, Max Johnson, who actually started,
he's out.
on the games, he's out.
Yeah,
he's dropped out altogether.
Look, I keep going back to it. There's arguments for both. He's looking at strikers. You're right. In Shankland scoring 4 league goals. The other ones have got 3 and whatever. It doesn't matter what he does as long as he wins the double header. Yeah, nobody will be bothered about if Shankland was in the squad or not.
Historically, he doesn't do spontaneity. Steve Clarke, you're right. That was my last squad. It's only 3 weeks ago. They suit me. Thank you and goodbye.
Because actually, Max Johnson would be a good example of this. So he has fallen victim, shown that it's possible. But I think if you're most of those players and you suddenly go out of that squad, you would think, what have I done to deserve that?
Yeah,
I've not had the chance to do anything good or bad in the couple of weeks that's followed. But Anthony Ralston came in to the squad and no Max Johnson. So.
I heard a great debate during the week. Should we qualify? Should we qualify for the first time since 1998? Apparently the ticket prices to attend World Cup matches in America is beyond astronomical.
Not concern us, Hugh.
No.
You get yours for free.
No, we'll be sitting here. Not go over.
Wouldn't be so sure.
You think so?
Well, it's not. I don't know where I would get your level of certainty that it's not the case at this point.
Well,
having gone and getting a clean sheet against the top seeds in the group and so on.
No, I'm talking about the ticket prices. I'm not talking about us being there.
He's saying he's not going to go. He'll be sat here. If
right, I thought you meant because they're not qualifying.
No.
Okay.
I think we've got a great chance to qualify.
Got you. Anyway, I don't know how we went down that road. Edinburgh Derby, that's what it was. But we'll get the team news very soon. Fata's shots deflected. Prior makes the save or level in that one. Also level, incidentally, between Hamilton Accies and Inverness Cali Thistle. Alfie Bavidge with the goal on 63 minutes. Dykesteel and Mooney on for Donnelly and Ayunga for St Mirren, which means 63 minutes gone.
5 changes.
Used them all.
Better hope he doesn't get an injury.
A risky one.
I think he's past the stage, Kieran. He's probably looked and think, we're getting nothing here today. I'm just going to throw caution to the wind.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
See, to elaborate on it, you remember when I went back to Motherwell the second time, my debut, he hooked me at half time.
As in the face?
No, he took me off at half time. He actually done me a favour. We were getting beat at home to Ross County in the Scottish Cup.
Mark Wilson's gone early, 58 minutes, double change. Watt and Litosa off. Samuel and Stanway on.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's no worked. Arbroath have equalised. Partick Thistle 1, Arbroath 1. Finlay Marshall on 62 minutes. Thistle took that early lead. They were deserving of it, in control at half time, but as we move beyond the hour mark, that's a bit of a sucker punch. It was the goalkeeper Clark. He slid to collect the ball and kind of spilled it, and it was just a loose open goal for Marshall to score. So a real disappointment there.
Fair play to the Accies though. They've come back 2-1 up against Inverness Cali Thistle. So the team second in the table are leading the team top of the table.
Yeah, a real sucker blow for Mark there.
Sorry?
Sucker blow.
Sucker blow.
Yeah, is that okay?
I thought sucker punch was where you would be going, but
yeah, but I like to use my own phrases.
Exactly. Who am I to stunt your creative license?
Exactly. So he'd be disappointed with that. He's obviously made the substitutions, but still plenty of football to go. I thought that was, I don't know. I just had the feeling of Broth. Everybody think they're just got to be comfortable because of the form they're in. These ones are always the difficult ones. So listen, let's hope he can get a winner.
Killie now trying to press on their advantage as well with freshening things up. Daniels and Lyons for Anderson and Polworth. So a double change there. So it's now both the big men up front. Bruce Anderson comes on, so Daniels and Dackers, quite a force between them. And Brad Lyons coming on in midfield, the captain, in place of Liam Polworth. So we'll see if they can see this one out, or if there's any way back for St Mirren.
I think David Friel should get down to the press room as quickly as possible if this scoreline is the final result, because any man who makes 5 changes in just over an hour and has a reputation for being a nippy sweetie, you should get down there as quickly as possible. because there'll be big quotes coming.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing from those managers after that one. Certainly if it stays the way it is. There was I'd imagine quite an air of frustration around Stephen Robinson, to say the least. Stuart Kettlewell will be very happy unless things change. Dundee United and Livy's now finally poised though.
Next goal's the winner.
Oh, well, that's it. That's that decided. Are we getting one?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get one.
Oh no, you know what that means. What about a little refresher on your teaser, please, Hugh?
I began my career at Dundee United. I have played for teams from the Highlands, down through Angus and the Central Belt. I've been managed by Alan Stubbs, Lee Clark and Steve Clark. Who am I?
Russell would like to go for Paul McGinn.
I'd like to help you, but no.
Big Mo says Gary Mackay. Stephen?
Not GMS.
Chris Mick wants to go Harry Payton.
No.
Okay, keep your guesses coming to that, please, at Clyde SSB. You can see the thinking from some of you, but not quite hitting the target yet. Even Ross McCormack's now scribbling down answers. Hugh Keevins is shaking the head. There's a tense atmosphere in here.
Yeah.
Surprised at you though.
Do you know, I actually forgot about it. I've not given it much attention. I will in the next 25 minutes, by Hugh.
You sure?
Yeah.
I've not got faith in you today.
No?
Nah, I think your magic's worn off. I think you'd usually have it by now. Elgin City 2, 4-1. Ryan Sargent with the goal there. I reckon 5 minutes until team lines for the Edinburgh Derby, and then we'll take a look. Kyle Turner's come on for Thistle. Crawford has limped off, so forced into a change there is Mark Wilson. See, just on the topic of the Derby, reading some interesting stats about it this morning. I don't know if you managed to see these. The ever excellent Scotland's coefficient on Twitter posted these. That, did you know Derek McInnes has never lost a top flight game at home as a manager against Hibs?
Wow.
So in all his time at Aberdeen, all his time at Kilmarnock, and well, obviously early doors at Hearts wouldn't be possible yet, Hibs have never come to a Derek McInnes team in the top flight and won.
So first of all then, we're saying the hand of fate is guiding Derek towards a win.
Well, David Gray has never lost an Edinburgh Derby as a manager.
Oh,
you know, again, not managed loads of them, but you'll see.
Sir David.
Hibs have won the last 2 league derbies as well.
I think at that period in time though, when Derek McInnes was manager of Aberdeen, Hibs were champions.
You just think at some point though they were there for so long. The last time Hibs won 3 derbies in a row, Hugh, you were only a schoolboy.
Really?
1922.
I was in second year though.
Yeah. Going way back for that. 1922, the last time Hibs won 3 derbies in a row.
Is that right?
There you go. That's all the stats you could ever need. Scotland's coefficient on Twitter delivering with them. David Friel's almost mocking you, teasing you. He sent me the answer to the teaser and saying, can't believe Daz hasn't got it yet.
I've just worked that out. I thought you were being serious about being a schoolboy.
I know he's old, mate, but come on.
Why have you got your calculator app open on your phone?
He's looking going, I didn't think you was that age.
Arsenal have got a second against West Ham, London Derby there. Bukayo Saka with a penalty in the 67th minute, so you'd imagine that's enough to see them home and hosed. St Mirren are now putting on a bit of pressure. It's a team I would never quite write off, Gordon, but at the same time quite a long way back at this stage on a Saturday afternoon. St Mirren,
yeah, but he's thrown everything at it. He's made his 5 substitutions. Sometimes you get a feeling that it's not going to be your day, but that's all down to Kilmarnock. Absolutely brilliant. They're building on last week's good win up at Tannadice, looking to get that home victory today. It looks like they're going to get it. Stephen Robinson's probably looking at his team thinking, we're just not at the races today. It'll be interesting if he can get back in it. Listen, we all know one goal changes games very quickly.
Trying to get revenge of sorts for the Cup quarter-final penalty shootout defeat.
And I'm just thinking though, at the back of his mind, he's got a semi-final in a cup competition to come in less than a month's time now against Motherwell. I keep coming back to 5 players hooked within an hour. It's an utter condemnation of your team's day and a condemnation of the 5 players involved. So it's not been a good day for him. But if he scores now, it at least plants the seed of doubt in the Kilmarnock players' minds, but he need to get a goal in the next 5 minutes.
Swansea 1, Leicester 1. Adam Ida, remember him?
Oof, a penalty too.
Yeah, he scored a few penalties in his time up here. If you're a Killie fan, you think there's that delight but a wee bit of frustration. Why were we not this comfortable in the cup game? Because they would have been loving a wee trip to Hampden.
Yeah, that's right.
Went to penalties. St Mirren won just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, they would be, but he's got them going now, Kettlewell. That'd be another good 3 points. Yeah, there's always disappointing, especially when you look and you go, right, we've not drawn Celtic or Rangers in the semi-final. To be fair, I don't think you'd be too worried about that just now, but you'd rather have St Mirren Motherwell. Motherwell would rather have St Mirren. So yeah, I think it's good times down at Rugby Park.
Just to go back to that Adam Ida goal for Swansea against Leicester, you know, in that chaotic, shambolic transfer window, Brendan Rodgers said, I can't let Adam Ida go, I don't have a replacement. And yet they did. And now their only hope of a goal is someone, Iniacho, who was brought in because he could beat the window closing because he was a free agent.
See, in fairness, purely on that like for like, that doesn't look like a huge downgrade, does it?
That's an upgrade.
Right, so I think that bit's fine. It's probably about what else is there and whether there was enough reinforcements and other numbers. But on the form he was on, Adam Ida, a few million quid, and Ian Atchwin, I think that looks okay, doesn't it?
You're right, I think the level of fee dictated in the end that they've got to let him go. But you're also right in the fact that what they've been left with, you know, they're a little bit unbalanced in terms of everyone seems to want to play on the left hand side, and there's no right winger there apart from maybe James Forrest.
Also
the debacle with Yang.
Yeah, Iniacho is your best chance of a goal. You know, he scores against Red Star, scores against Kilmarnock.
He needs help, doesn't he?
One chalked off against Hibs, one chalked off against Braga, and there's nobody else.
There's a goal that we were speaking about earlier. Would they start ticking? Maybe it is now. Ross County 1, Wraith Rovers 0, and it's the third player that was signed this week. I knew there was another one and I couldn't remember. Miller Thompson.
Where did they come
Dundee
from?
United on loan, and 73 minutes gone, he's opened the scoring in Dingwall against your former team.
Yeah, big goal for them. They certainly need something to kickstart their season. You're right, Gordon. They've certainly been backed as a management team up there. They've got plenty of experience, and also John Robertson in there as well. So they need to start winning games. They're capable of doing it because they've got the squad, they've got the players, but they just need to start somewhere, and today might just be their day.
Livy have just hacked one off the line. Maybe a slight debate about whether it had crossed the line or not, but nothing doing, so still level there. Double change for Mark Wilson's Partick Thistle, Fitzpatrick and Smith off. Stephen Lawless and Sean McCardle on an interesting one, Hugh. Made his Celtic debut last season, very highly thought of.
Yep.
I think on paper, Mark looks like he's pulled off quite a nice piece of recruitment there.
Yeah, but I remember Sean McCardle, I think it was at Aberdeen, he created a really nice goal for Celtic. Clearly Mark's former relationship with Celtic as a player helping him out there. Sean Maloney looking to create a pathway for young men at Celtic now, and he's obviously thought, well, McCardle would do well in the Partick Thistle setup, so it's good for him, for Sean McCardle, and let's hope he can be good for Mark Wilson before 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I do agree. The good thing is Mark had to add to the squad. He had a sort of a small squad when he took over in pre-season, but he's got some good players there, good experienced players as well. Tony Watts come in, scoring a few goals for him. But today is all about make sure you don't lose. I know a home draw against a Broth is not the best result for him, but the way he's going about his business, there's going to be hiccups on the way. There's no doubt about that. And if this is one and it's a point, then move on from there.
It's a point you can be glad of on a day when St Johnstone might be drawing at home as well. If no harm done then.
No, but then it becomes a missed opportunity,
doesn't it?
Huge missed opportunity.
But you're not going to be Partick Thistle and go through every game winning in this championship, because that championship can throw up really strange results. Everybody's capable of winning against each other in that championship. I think that's that close.
Team news in from the Edinburgh Derby. Forgive me if it's not lined up entirely accurately, because just looking at it for the first time. So Schwolov continues in goals for Hearts, probably back four. Ocean McEntee continuing at right back, Stephen Kingsley left back, Craig Halkett and Stuart Finlay. Harry Milne got a new contract and he's been playing in a position you wouldn't expect him to, but he'll still be in that midfield. Cammy Devlin, Benny Beningame in there as well. Kizaridis, the man who lit up the game last week with that goal, providing some attacking intent for Claudio Braga and Lawrence Shanklin. So that is the
Hearts team. I like that team. That has to be
a Champions Elect team.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they've probably booked the Usher Hall already, and they're getting
so?
ready.
Open top bus down
Princess Street. Yeah,
bit of a blow for Hibs. They don't have Jamie McGrath or Chaiwa to call on in midfield, so it will be Salinger in goal. Usually go for a back three, so Grant Hanley in there, he keeps his place. Warren O'Hara and Jack Iredale, so no place for Rocky Bashiri in the back three. The wing backs, Chris Cadden on the right, Jordan Obita on the left. The midfielders, Josh Mulligan, Josh Campbell, Barlaser in there as well, and that means Martin Boyle, the skipper, just off Kieran Bowie in attack.
I like that team, Hugh.
Yeah.
I really like that team. I think there'll be bags. I think this will be a good derby. You could get to, build it up, and you're looking at the attacking side of both teams, and it could be a dour 0-0. I see that different tonight. I think conditions will play a part. I think the two teams are set up. I think Hibs will try and play in the counter like they did at Celtic Park. But I think you'll get goals tonight in that.
Hearts unchanged from the win against Falkirk, maybe unsurprisingly.
Yeah, we just talked about Stevie Clark there, and why would he change anything, Derek McInnes?
Is Chaiwa injured?
He must be. Him and McGrath, don't appear anywhere on the team lines.
I like Chris Cadden, but for me, Josh Mulligan, I love seeing him playing right wing back. His athleticism, getting up and down.
And some people feel the other way, don't they? It feels like that can be a good thing, obviously, that versatility, but sometimes you want a player to really pin one of them down.
Yeah, I watched them closely. I think it was Ibrox when Rangers beat them at Ibrox, and there was one point in the first half where he bust past 2 or 3 players and played Kieran Bowie clean through, and I thought, good player.
Likes the look of him, but it's two good squads that on paper now, Gordon. So look, it doesn't guarantee anything. We don't know how their seasons will pan out, but I don't look at either of those starting 11s and see many players that you don't rate or at least aren't capable of good performances. And unfortunately for Hearts and Hibs, you've not always been able to say that over the last few seasons.
Yeah, I think that they have built good squads. David Gray and obviously Derek at Tynecastle have been well backed there. The big difference now, you look at Hearts and Hibs, have got players that can come off the bench and change games. Didn't have that before. I think we're in for a cracker. I like the look of the two front men for both teams. I think they're danger if you can get the ball, the quality of service to them. So I think there'll be goals tonight. I'm really looking forward to that game, got to say.
Would there be many of those players in them two starting 11s that you would think could get in either of the Old Firm starting 11?
Well, right now, if you've got a Celtic team that have scored fewer goals than Livingston, I would suggest that Shanklin and Bowie and Boyle would walk into the Celtic team.
You'd start all of them over Iheanacho.
Yeah.
Maeda.
Well, Maeda, I think Maeda, wonderful season last season, but he definitely strikes me as someone who cannot get over the fact that the transfer he thought he was getting did not materialise, and it clearly affected him very, very badly.
I would maybe say Boyle, Braga on the right hand side for Celtic, considering there's no one else
on the right currently.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
And considering Rangers can't defend, Grant Hanley will get a game.
You're throwing everybody at this now, Hugh.
Oh yeah. Rangers can't defend and Celtic can't score. They're a washout.
Stirling Albion 2, Dumbarton 2, Gordon Walker with equaliser there. So that's the team news ahead of the Edinburgh derby, which kicks off in just over 1 hour's time. A big statement if Hearts could not only stay top but stretch their advantage, do it in a game of this significance as well.
Massive for them. If they're going to be contenders, I know some people already have got them for a league title, but they've got 2 big games. I think Celtic come calling in Edinburgh.
Yeah, October 25, I believe, at Tynecastle, which was a potential nightmare for the Celtic fans.
Yeah, so if they can get a result tonight, if they can put a stamp down on Celtic at Tynecastle, then all of a sudden you will be taking them serious. I still think it's too big an ask.
You need a bigger sample. I know it's not popular here to pause for breath, but Motherwell were 3-0 up at Tynecastle, and for a goalkeeping mistake would have won, and then you're not having this discussion about Hearts. And by the way, that's not to take anything away, because they showed the resilience and character and all that sort of stuff. But
and also I had them down to win the Premier Sports Cup, and they lose to St Mirren and Paisley. But I'm thinking immediate term. If Hearts can win this game, go 5 points ahead of Celtic, at the end of a bad week for Celtic, it puts them under pressure against Motherwell tomorrow. They're 5 points behind.
3 big games.
Is that a potential banana skin?
No.
Motherwell?
I think so. I think I said to Gordon last night on Super Scoreboard, I think that's a draw.
I'd love it to be, but I think Motherwell will probably play right into Celtic's hands, because they'll go there, they'll play open football, they'll love to get the ball down. Everybody's loving this new manager, the style of football he's playing, and I think that could play into Celtic's hands. You get back to Hearts, I think you need to look at the next 3 games. Hibs, Kilmarnock away, who are banging form, and that's got to be difficult at Rugby Park, and then Celtic. And I think if they took 9 points out of that, I would be sitting here going, Hugh, you might be at that celebration in Princess Street.
Dell might bring me out as the mascot for the final game.
I can't see it happening right enough, but look, stranger things have happened.
Airdrie 1, Morton 2, Jackson Longridge putting Morton in front there. 83 minutes gone. That could prove to be a vital goal for Dougie Imrie's side. Not too long. What about maybe a last warning on the teaser, Hugh, then we'll round it off.
I began my career at Dundee United. I have played for teams from the Highlands, down through Angus and the Central Belt. I've been managed by Alan Stubbs, Lee Clark and Steve Clark. Who am I?
Bit of geography. SDG wants Cammy Bell's name mentioned?
No.
JB thinks it's a former teammate of Ross's, Mark Reynolds?
No.
Martin McAteer wants Danny Swanson?
Well, no.
Okay, we'll do the answers or the answer and the winners very soon. You've got a couple of minutes. If you think you can piece all that together, send us it over at Clyde SSB. Still nothing from you?
I've only got one guess and I don't think it's right.
Just write it down and we'll decide. Come on then, put us out our misery. Yes, that's the one. Has he got it, Shug?
He's got it.
Well done. You got there in the end.
There was a clue that gave it away.
Well, that's the nature of it.
I know, but but the clue didn't come from Hugh.
What do you mean?
And there you go. That's all I'm saying. I don't want, because if I tell you where I got the clue from, I think people will get it.
Someone text you?
Oh, that's possible.
What? Because we mentioned them earlier? No. Well, I'll tell you after. He's cryptic, this guy.
Yeah.
It's like the New York Times crossword, honestly. I'm not really sure what you're on about, but nevertheless, we'll reveal the winners.
That's David Friel, he'll tell you.
Yengi with a decent opening, but had a shot straight at the keeper. But Dundee United very much in command, actually, of that one, despite that, so still poised there. Will we get a winner? Do you fancy it? Dundee United, Livy?
I do.
Ooh.
I do. I think
which way?
I think there's drama. I think it'll go to the home side, because Livy have got a knack of losing 94th minute goals.
Are we getting a Partick Thistle or Arbroath winner?
No, it's a draw. I told you, stick on draw. That was my nap today.
Your tips have been spectacular recently.
Kilmarnock last week, Kilmarnock today, and the draw.
By the way, that you are in impressive form.
Yeah.
I love nothing more than to criticise and ridicule you on here, but that is an impressive run. You did tip Kelly to win at Tannadice. We mocked you. You got it right. You've tipped them to beat St Mirren today and a draw at Firhill.
Yeah.
What a man.
What about Celtic Park tomorrow?
Unfortunately, I'm going with the home side. I think Celtic will be too good for
Motherwell. Falkirk?
I fancy Rangers there.
Two favourites.
Yeah.
Can Jimmy Tulleen get his first league?
Yes, against Dundee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fancy the 3 tomorrow.
Because they've scored a couple of goals.
Yeah. And apparently, what I'm hearing, Motherwell Gordon was there.
They weren't bad at Fir Park last
I've
week.
heard that.
They really weren't.
And I think that going by reports, they actually done all right on Thursday night against a good side. Got 2 goals, bit of confidence. Oh, yeah, I fancy Aberdeen.
Playing the devil's advocate, can you really say they did alright while losing 3 goals at home?
I think to Shakhtar Donetsk, a team who regularly frequent the Champions League, levels as they say. I think listen, it's not good, it's not to be celebrated, but it's got to go down as okay.
Easier to get up for them games though.
No, listen, that's fine, but if you're talking about a team that's bottom of the Premiership and cannot score a goal, I think you're fearing that Shakhtar come and win 4-0.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I think they at least saved some face. Bad collision between Gennaro Daniels and Shamal George, 2 big laddies as they say, and both down. They were going for Brad Lyon's cross, so that one might get a few additional minutes, which would suit St Mirren more than it would suit Kilmarnock. Not if they have to get their goalkeeper taken off right enough, but we'll see what happens there. And let's round the teaser off, Hugh, just to leave room for late drama in case we get some.
Okay, so I began.
Second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I began my career at Dundee United. I've played for teams from the Highlands down through Angus and the Central Belt, and I've been managed by Alan Stubbs, Lee Clark and Lee Clark. I am
Steve Clark.
Lee Clark.
You said Lee twice.
Oh, Lee Clark and Steve Clark. I am Scott Allen.
Scott Allen, our very own, played for Inverness, played for Arbroath, played for Kelty, obviously played for Celtic, was managed by Steve Clark at West Brom, Lee Clark at Birmingham, and Alan Stubbs at Hibs. So
do you know how I got that really? Because when David Friel said he got it, David Friel's hopeless at these, so it must have been somebody in this panel if he got that.
His mind works in utterly bizarre ways. That's your clue.
That was my main one. That's the one I went for, Scott.
But how does that take you to Scott Allen?
Because I just think that David Friel, when he went, I got that, I can't believe he didn't get that, I thought that's where the clue was. I was on it, Roscoe.
I forgot Lee Clark was at Birmingham.
Yeah,
I'm sure he was at Huddersfield, wasn't he?
Yes,
that's how I came
Huddersfield.
up with Paul Dixon.
Listen, it was a great guess. It was wrong, but it was a great guess. You're sitting next to the master, mate.
Yengies now had one scrambled clear as well. Livingston going for it there at Tannadice. We said Dundee United had been on top. It's level at the moment. We'll see if we get a late winner.
Well, wouldn't that be something for Davy Martindale if he could, and Jim Goodwin would go through the roof? I think there's going to be a fair bit of going through the roofs when the final whistle blows. I'm really looking forward to Stephen Robinson's comments.
Dolchek, is he still on the pitch?
Not entirely sure. But yeah, I don't think Stephen Robinson will be too impressed, will he?
No, not the slightest.
No, I think he wrote the day off when he made the 3 substitutions, decided, right, I'm making another 2 not that long after it. He must have just looked and thought, might not be our day. And you, as a manager and a player, you get that feeling sometimes. Doesn't matter what you do, it's not going to be our day. And you've got to give credit to Kilmarnock because they've been excellent.
Dolchek's had the hook as well.
Has he?
So he won't be getting your winner, that's for sure. We are now under an hour to go until the Edinburgh Derby, so we're very much looking forward to that one. Hopefully is excellent. A lot of attacking flair in both teams. Hopefully it doesn't cancel each other out, because if anything, what Hibs have had to do recently is become a bit more defensively sound. We saw that they were never winning that game really. No. I know O'Hara has the chance from the set piece, but they were never winning the game at Celtic Park. But they had to dig in and make sure they got the clean sheet. They
had to ride their luck. They gave up a few chances, which happens at Celtic Park occasionally just now. It didn't happen the other night there. I think they'll need to be a little bit more defensively sound tonight, because I think if you give those chances to Shankland and Braga, I think the ball's ending up in the back of the net, the foreigner. And so I like the fact that Hanlon's back there. I think it gives them that good stability, good experience, good balance, everything about it. Hanley, I keep getting him mixed up, didn't I?
I was worried about Paul Hanlon suddenly returning.
Why do I keep saying Hanley?
Before, yeah.
That's 2 or 3 times. Hanley, sorry, my apologies to him. But I think that'll be a real good game tonight.
I didn't actually, we got so bogged down in the Scott Allen detail, I didn't tell you that Dean K18 was 3rd fastest on the teaser. Well done. Jamie Dock 2nd, but the winner was Chrissy Lewis. Sorry, as you were.
Right. So I think we're all done. No more goals.
No, is that it in?
I think we've had it. I think it's a home win for Kelly for sure. A draw at Tannadice and a draw at Firhill.
Yeah, full-time whistles are going in League One, etc. Obviously no VAR there, so they tend to finish a bit quicker. Having said that, we've been next to no. I don't think we've heard anything of a VAR check, have we, anywhere today? The whole issue with VAR is it can bubble away completely quietly for a few weeks and no one pays any attention and it's all good, but as soon as something is perceived to be a big mistake, then we all go crazy about it. David Watson has come off to a standing ovation for Kilmarnock. He opened the scoring there, didn't he?
Yeah, having a good bit of form just now as Ross County put the points to bed.
That will be it, yes. Ronan Hale with a 92nd minute goal for the Staggies. Lots of people perhaps feeling that he could have moved on from Ross County, but he stayed there, he scored today, and that will be a vital win for Tony Docherty's side.
As all managers tell you, it's a long road that has no turning, and this might be the turning point for Tony Dock and Callum Davidson, because Wraith Rovers have been going well this season and they've got the job done, Ross County.
I like Barry Robson's interviews. I'm going to make sure I listen to that.
I've never listened to any of them. Is he good? Is he value for money?
Just like always along the lines of, I mean, listen, I'm not going to speak about the referee and then the next 4 minutes
is about the referee.
That sort of thing. I like that.
Yeah.
That gets me going. That's how sad I am. Hamilton Accies 3, Inverness 1. Ollie Shaw putting that one beyond all doubt there. So a good win for the Accies. All is not well behind the scenes.
Who now go top of the league.
On the pitch doing what they can. Full times, Kelty, Peterhead. Peterhead have gone to Kelty and won that one by 2-1. Surely we're nearly there. I'm thinking David Friel's game at Kilmarnock.
Surely Fraser.
No, he was a bit behind, remember?
Was he?
Yeah. I think imminent from David Friel. That would be my thought there. 4 minutes added for Dave Galloway, so he's going to be a bit behind. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get a winner. But Hugh Keevins is not having it.
No.
Full time, here is David Friel right on cue. Rugby Park, take it away.
Yeah, full time, Gordon Kilmarnock 2, St Mirren 0. Massive win for Kelly. Stuart Kettleway's side up to third place unless there's a late Dundee United winner. What a win this was. We were 2-0 up at half time thanks to David Watson and Martin Stackers. Kelly soaked up a bit of pressure in the second half but still had the best chances and should have added to their tally. As for St Mirren, they didn't manage a single attempt on target all day, on basically a day to forget for the Paisley side. Stephen Robinson made 3 changes at the break. He'd used all his subs by 63 minutes but nothing worked. Kelly lost to St Mirren in the Premier Sports Cup last month. Of course, this was a bit of revenge for Stuart Kettlewell's team. They're in fine form, they were well worthy of their win and they're in a really good place just now. The win made conditions tough for both sides. St Mirren did have half chances through Alec Gogic and Jonah Ayunga before Kelly took the lead in 28 minutes. Simple ball over the top from Greg Kilty. That released Bruce Anderson. He 4 in goal. Low shot saved by Shamal George, but David Watson was there to follow in and score from close range. By 36 minutes it was 2-0. Anderson again involved. He found James Brown down the right, whipped in a brilliant cross from Marcus Stackers, and his header found the top corner. As I say, St Mirren boss Stephen Robinson clearly not a happy man at the break. He made 3 changes. Bacchus, McMenamin, Lundulo all come on for Mandron, King and Aduba, but Kelly should have made it 3-0 immediately. Shamal George saved from Dackers. Anderson's follow-up was then blocked on the line and Dackers then fired wide. 3 chances in 5 seconds. Unbelievable stuff. St Mirren made 2 more changes, 63 minutes. Evan Mooney and Malik Dykesdale were on. They did see a lot more of the ball. They did force a lot of corners. I think it was nearly double figures by the end, but Kelly defended really well and they should have made it 3-0 when Dakar squared for Gennaro Daniels, who fired over the bar from 12 yards. That didn't matter. Kelly well worthy of the win. They're getting a brilliant ovation just now. As for St Mirren, just a day to forget. Full time, Kilmarnock 2, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, well done to Kilmarnock. An excellent result there against the St Mirren team, who are often a very tricky opponent. Livy have hit the top of the bar right at the end there of that game. Imagine they went and snatched it. We must be almost done at Firhill as well. So that's one of our games down, and an excellent win for Kilmarnock, Hugh.
Yeah. Well done, Stuart Kettlewell. I'm just looking at Robbie Leach having scored for Clyde to make it 2-2, 90 plus 4.
And his brother is East Kilbride captain as well, as I've explained before. A wee family connection there for me. That'll be interesting.
I was really worried there for a minute, not for East Kilbride, the fact that Hugh was going to choke.
Anyway, full time, Partick Thistle. Let's speak to Fraser.
Yeah, full-time party. Thistle won, Arbroath won. Disappointment for the Thistle fans, but they've seen this before. Team playing really well, dominated the first half, only one goal to show from it, from Logan Chalmers. Arbroath got some confidence from that and equalised in the second half through Finlay Marshall, and actually could have gone on to win the game. That opening goal came in the 5th minute. Aidan Fitzpatrick, we've seen it so often, he ran across the 18-yard box. I think he was trying to get a shot away. He played a 1-2 with Tony Watt. He looked as if he'd overrun it, but he managed to just toe poke the ball towards Chalmers, who brilliantly with his left foot just curled 14 yards into the top corner. Keeper no chance. McAdams in that goal was busy, denied left back Paddy Redding twice in a minute. First one's a really good save from a volley from 25 yards. The Thistle fans wanted a second to give them some confidence. Like Souza burst into the box a couple of times trying to create something, nothing came of it. But then with the lack of that second goal, Thistle fans on the hour a bit edgy. A few mistakes by the defence giving Arbroath hope. And in 62 minutes they got that equaliser. Josh Clark slid out to collect the ball from Ryan Dow. He was challenged by the midfield player, but the ball spilled to Finlay Marshall with the simple job to tap it into the empty net. It's game on now, and Arbroath got a real lift from the goal. Thistle a bit rocked, a few subs by Mark Wilson. Aidan Fitzpatrick gave the fans hope. The long run from inside his own half into the box, the ball eventually fell to Kel Turner. Left foot shot pushed away well by McAdams. Then sub Alex Samuel thought he had scored. He headed the ball down, it bounced up under the bar, it was parried away by the Arbroath keeper, but still danger at the other end, and Josh Clark made up for his mistake with two brilliant saves in quick succession. The first one low to his right hand side, right at the post to push away a really good Todder off header, and then a minute later he tipped a fierce Ryan Dow shot over the bar. The only chance towards the end came from Logan Chalmers for Thistle to win the game. Great chance at the back post. Sean McArdle cuts inside, just chipped the ball into the path of the winger, and he went to side foot it, but he actually stood on the ball, and the ball was cleared away, and that was it for the Jags. So Thistle's unbeaten run ends still, the winning run ends, they're still unbeaten. But the St Johnstone drawing, I think they'll be disappointed that the chance to reduce that gap has gone. But Arbroath have shown once again they won't make it easy for anyone in this championship. Full time at Firhill, Partick Thistle 1, Arbroath 1.
What about Tannadice for Dundee United against Livingston? Dave Galloway.
It ended all square. Gordon Dundee United 1, Livingston 1. Livingston started very well and took the game to their hosts. Smith's powerful shot from outside the box was parried by Kucherenko, but May couldn't capitalise, and the same player was nearly in after Essellink's poor back pass to his keeper. Dundee United threatened at last when a reverse pass picked out Muller, however he lashed over the bar. But Livy took a thoroughly deserved lead after 34 minutes after another Esselink blunder. May pounced on the ball and unselfishly rolled it to Pittman for a tap-in, and they should have doubled their advantage when the ball was knocked down to Pittman 12 yards out, but he had his head in his hands after shooting wide. Booing could be heard quite loudly from the home support, who were very far from happy with their side, but Chevet almost changed all that, blowing a huge chance to equalise in stoppage time in the first half. However, he fluffed his effort at the back post from a corner kick. Whatever Jim Goodwin said to his players during the interval, it certainly worked. United, with two subs on for the start of the second half, equalised after 49 minutes. Ferry's free kick into the box, really good control at the back post by Cazestes, who fired home. The Tangerines were looking much better now. Stevenson's drive in a busy penalty box was well saved by Prier, who also did well to keep out Chevet's shot after he made a magnificent run from deep inside his own half. Then Silla cleared off the line after the ball was played quickly back into the danger zone. United probably as much on top in the second half as Livy were in the first, but the visitors had a big chance when Tate cut the ball back for Yengi just a few yards out. However, the danger was cleared away, and late on, Sissoho's cross comes shot from the right hand side. It hit the top of the bar. A good game, and maybe a draw was just about right. Dundee United 1, Livingston 1.
And now it's over to you then, 01419511025. If you've got today's football on your mind and you want to react straight after the full-time whistle, that is what we're here for, so do give us a call. I've got a funny feeling many of you though have got other stuff on your mind, bigger picture stuff around Glasgow's Big Two. Russell Martin needs a win at Falkirk tomorrow. I think that's probably fair. He's been speaking again to Sky Sports this morning and trying to explain his comments about the players' mentality. So what is on your mind tonight, Rangers fans, and similarly Celtic fans, because you're equally as annoyed about the result in Europe during the week. So does something need to change? Can you really see it? Big names, big characters, established first team players who lots of you are not too happy with at the moment, maybe Kasper Schmeichel or Callum McGregor or Dyson Maeda. Can you really see wholesale changes being made for the visit of Motherwell? And we're building up to kick off between Hearts and Hibs, I should say. So get in touch right now if you can, please. 01419511025. You will be able to watch the live stream as well on YouTube or Facebook, Twitter, wherever you usually watch it during the week. We're going to head through to the TV studio and we will speak to you next. Give us a call.
Owen built this business from scratch. Now it's all in the cloud. His ideas, his data, his future, which is fine. Until someone clicks on a link they shouldn't. BT Complete Cloud Secure protects your business online. It filters harmful sites and blocks malware from just £3.30 per user per month, keeping Owen's business data, well, Owen's. Cybersecurity is everyone's business. Search BT Business Cybersecurity. T's and C's apply. Prices exclude VAT at 20%. 12-month minimum term applies.
You can't do much in under 5 minutes. Boil an egg? Sure. Cook a roast dinner? No chance. But comparing car insurance prices with mustard.co.uk? Easy. See what you could save in just a few minutes. Click mustard.co.uk. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.
It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line 0141 951 1025.
It's that time on a Saturday where we want to find out how you're feeling about all things Scottish football. So let's hear from you on 0141 951 1025. Get in touch and let us know if it is an immediate reaction to today's games. I think I'm probably looking at you, St Mirren and Kilmarnock fans in this part of the world. St Mirren fans, where did that go wrong? You wouldn't have seen that coming. How annoying and frustrating was it? And on the flip side, Killie fans, are you starting to maybe show that this could be a better season for you than some would have predicted? Maybe you included. Hugh alluded to it earlier. Not a great deal of love around the appointment of Stuart Kettlewell, but in the last couple of weeks, some very impressive results up the table now. So how pleased are you? The form of David Watson as well, worth commenting on for sure. If we look ahead, firstly, we'll get to the Edinburgh Derby. We'll get some pre-match thoughts there if you want, a 5:45 kickoff. And what about tomorrow? Rangers fans, for the 150th day in a row on Clyde One Super Scoreboard, we're asking you for your thoughts on Russell Martin, because it evolves every day. It might not change, but today it's another interview this morning, Sky Sports, trying to address the mentality comments, trying to talk about Max Aarons saying the crowd's getting to them, saying that he doesn't like the fact that fans are confronting Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart in hotels. So give us all your thoughts there, and then heading to the game to Falkirk tomorrow. For you Celtic fans, maybe a bit more football focused, if you like. So your disappointment on the pitch the other night, does that result in changes tomorrow? Could we genuinely see team selection calls as big as Kasper Schmeichel not playing, or Callum McGregor not playing, or Dyson Maeda not playing, or will all of the above retain the faith of the manager for now? Whatever it is you've got for us, 0141 951 1025. A good mix, Hugh, of a nice day so far, but plenty of action still to come.
Yeah, and I think tomorrow's matches are of vital importance for all involved. Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen. Aberdeen certainly need to get off the bottom of the table and quickly, but the Old Firm, they're a shambles, and they have to improve radically tomorrow. Celtic at home to Motherwell, not scoring goals. 2 matches now back to back, 5 in the season altogether, no goals for Celtic. This is virtually unheard of. And for Rangers, they have to eliminate defensive mistakes. They have to improve, not the mentality, because he didn't mean mentality, he meant concentration. They have to improve their concentration against Falkirk. Vital day for the Old Firm tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's massive for the two clubs. I think where you can give the criticism of Celtic and Rangers just now is simple for me. I don't think Motherwell will go to Celtic Park tomorrow with fear. I don't think they'll sit back and try and pat the bus like it's went on for years and years at Celtic Park. Hope to get them the counter and sneak something. I think Mother will go toe to toe. I think it'll probably suit Celtic. I think they'll get better players, but Hugh's quite right in saying they have to start scoring goals. Their big players need to step up. They're not stepped up at all lately. You then look at Rangers. Once again, we know the criticism that manager will come under from the minute he gets off that team bus until the minute he gets back on it. Doesn't matter what the score is. And then if you look up at Pittodrie, Aberdeen need a win.
What a day it's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm actually looking forward to what seeing what Aberdeen produce. I think Dazzler's right when he was speaking earlier. I think them 2 goals against Shakhtar will give them a lot of confidence going forward, because as we all know, they haven't scored in the Premiership this season. So I'm looking forward to see what they do. I think Hatate comes back into midfield for Celtic and he'll make a difference. I agree again with Dazzler that Motherwell will play right into Celtic's hands tomorrow. They'll be too expansive and Celtic will nick the ball off them in midfield and score a couple. Rangers, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm fairly certain that if they don't get the 3 points, it's the end of the road.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we've said that before, haven't we?
I know, but I really don't think it.
But you really do believe it this time?
No.
Oh, you don't?
I don't think the American owners are of a mind to sack him. I'd love to hear. We're always asking for transparency. We occasionally hear from Patrick Stewart or Kevin Thelwell. We never ever hear Andrew Kavanagh open his mouth. We don't know what he sounds like. But I do not get the impression that he, Andrew Kavanagh, is of a mind to sack the manager.
The only thing I'd say, Hugh, is if he did lose tomorrow, then they've got that breathing space of the international weekend, the international break. I'm agreeing with you, because I look and I think I thought he'd have been gone by now. There's no signs of him going. We're not hearing anything that they're having meetings to say, look, he's got 2 games to sort it out. But he can't keep going the way he's going. It's impossible. You cannot keep going the way you're going as a football manager.
And I'm really interested, Gordon, as we said, more about Celtic just on the pitch tomorrow. It's not to say that they don't still have other stuff we know about, transfer window, boards and all that stuff, but it just feels like that's where it's going to come to a head now a bit for Celtic, because Brendan Rodgers has acknowledged that he now can't do anything about it. He has to find solutions. We saw him change his shape at half time, which we very rarely see. Did they have as much personnel as they would like? Probably not, but they might have to change something. They can't just keep playing the same team the same way and just sort of hoping that it magically gets better.
You know, it's funny to say, I think it's a big day for Brendan Rodgers as well. Brendan Rodgers is sort of a, he's just keeping under the radar a little bit here, because the fans have certainly went against the board, the protests against that. You look over the city, if Russell Martin had got off to a great start with Rangers and he's sitting up there near that top of the league, I think all focus would be on Brendan Rodgers. He's right, he's changing shape, he's changing personnel, he's making those substitutions, he's not scoring goals. Yes, against Hibs I thought they were a bit unfortunate. The other night there, I just thought Braga eventually played them off the pitch and deserved to win it. I know they had a wee burst in the second half, unfortunately, with the VAR decision, but it's a big game for Brendan Rodgers. I think Brendan Rodgers will come in for a bit of criticism if he doesn't get a result tomorrow.
He's already started. Fans have complained about the boring style of football. They're getting agitated now. It's not just about the board. And Celtic will face a critical audience at home tomorrow. They really have to start quicker, try and score a goal, and placate the crowd. But if it's another long day, then Brendan Rodgers has the Motherwell game. He also has Hearts away before the end of the month, and on the 2nd of November he's got Rangers in a cup semi-final. Everything's coming towards Brendan Rodgers and Russell Martin for that matter. The pair of them now have to come up with answers.
And as you say though, we do this a lot. If I think of the numerous days and nights we've had on this show, especially on a Saturday, where a team goes to Celtic Park and gets a result, they grind out a 0-0 or a 1-1, and we get loads of calls from Celtic fans going, teams just come in, they just sit and park the bus. And we always say, well, you're entitled to do that because you're going against a team with an astronomical budget and you're just trying to dig in and get something. Motherwell won't do that.
Not at all.
And you never know though, that might be what Celtic want, which is that's the difficulty when you're trying to do things a certain way.
Gordon, I think 100% that's what Celtic want. I think Celtic right now are finding it difficult to break teams down. So they want to go toe and toe with another team that's prepared to play football. One thing I like about the Motherwell manager just now, he's not been arrogant, but he's been truthful. He says, I'm going to Celtic Park to win. I think it'll be a massive ask because I think Celtic are good, better players, but in the current form, nothing's impossible.
Saturday evening, 5 to 6. You know what that means? It's your calls. We need 01419511025. John is on first of all. How are you, John?
I'm not bad yourself.
Good, thanks. Good. What are you thinking?
Just regard to the Celtic game the other night against Braga at Celtic Park, I thought Kasper Schmeichel's saves could have been a lot better, and I thought Kobe Donovan played quite well himself, but I thought he could have put a wee bit more into the game.
Well, he got hooked, didn't he, Kobe Donovan, which again, Gordon, this is it would be wildly over the top of us, even us, to sort of write him off, chastise him, criticise him. He's a young player, he's come in, he's done excellent. It's just one setback. But what it probably is that. So we step back from people who maybe thought, brilliant, this guy's in, look how good he was away in Belgrade, which he was, and keep him in, and he's better than Ralston, and maybe just a wee reminder that stepping into first team football is not that easy.
I thought he struggled with the minutes he had. I liked to look at him up until then. I thought he was a wee bit lucky to lose his position, his place against, was it Hibs? They brought Ralston back in.
That was a resting thing.
I know that, but I would have probably rather just kept the momentum going for him. I think coming out the team then getting back in it didn't do him any favours the other night there, and obviously Brendan Rodgers removed him at half time, and that's probably to get the formation sorted out. Schmeichel, I think some of Schmeichel's decision making lately has got to come into question, and there's no doubt in the world, Gordon, and there's no excuses about, well, Paul might have swear. Schmeichel should be saving that easily all day long.
I think Schmeichel will keep his place because Brendan Rodgers brought him there, is respectful of his standing within the club. I think he'll keep his place, but any more mistakes tomorrow, and you've got to look at Brendan Rodgers and say, you have to change that. They do have a problem at fullback. Colby Donovan is an emerging talent. He's a teenager. His time will come. But they really desperately miss Alistair Johnson on the right-hand side. And at the moment, on the left-hand side, Kieran Tierney is not an upgrade on Greg Taylor. Kieran Tierney is toiling along with other players.
John, time to change Kasper Schmeichel, or is that too early for that sort of stuff?
Well, I think it's a bit early now for all that kind of stuff, but I get what you say with Tierney, but I think Sirachi deserves a chance as well.
Yeah.
And not left back role.
He's a much better proposition right now. Forward going, likes a shot as well. There's more energy about him, and the one thing that Celtic lack is energy. Backwards, forwards, sideways, and they're boring the crowd now.
What do you think about the goalkeeper, Ross? Because I think if we're being fair, I think maybe David Friel, someone brought it up earlier, they started the season pretty well.
Yeah, he has. Listen, I'll be totally honest with you, Gordon. I played years ago with Kasper, and probably the best thing about him was when he had the ball at his feet. He was very composed on the ball, never really made many mistakes at all with the ball at his feet. So it's worrying now that you look at it the other night, 3 or 4 times he passed the ball out the pitch. Just not like him at all. Personally, I don't think he's ever been the most agile of goalkeepers in terms of when people are having shots against him. I think he's fantastic when he's coming out and he's spreading himself, but when you're asking him to save shots from 20 yards that are going in the top corner and stuff, personally I don't think he's ever been that agile. But the worrying part for me is with the ball at his feet, because that's always been his strongest suit, and it seems to have deserted him at this moment in time.
The worrying thing about the other night, Gordon, is it wasn't going in the top corner, and you just, whether going with the wrong hand, yes, but maybe just kind of moving his feet, didn't even really need to dive that much, because the ball ends up dipping kind of towards him a little, almost.
I don't know what you're thinking, Gordon. You'd need to ask the goalkeeper, because that is just a run-in-the-mill save. There's no doubt. The lad was, I think he come up on the screen 33 yards out. I thought it was a bit further out than that, but he's seen that ball all day long. It's not swerving, it's not moving at great speeds. A goalkeeper, any goalkeeper, I would have criticised if he can't keep that out of the back of the net. Look, I think I'm with you. I think he will start with him tomorrow. I think they've got bigger issues. I think I'm looking at the Midley Park. They've not got that spark. They've not got that energy. Hugh's talking about they're playing side to side, which they are, slow football. I think that comes from the Midley Park as well. I think that energy's gone just now for me. And I think they need to rekindle that. They've got good options in there, but they need to get the balance right. And right now, and I will say it, and I've said that, not been dropped because I've got too much respect for him. I think Callum McGregor needs taking out the team. I really do.
What do you mean not dropped then? It's dropped.
I think you look at the amount of games that Callum's played.
But he's retired from international duty. Hold on, we've had an international break 3-4 weeks ago, which he didn't play. He won't play next week. He gets his rest next week. If you don't want him in the team tomorrow, he's dropped.
Right,
that's not rest.
But he plays in games like they go to Firhill, right, against Mark's Partick team. No disrespect. Why is Callum McGregor playing another 90 minutes or whatever he plays there?
But I don't think that's the issue though. He has gone off the boil badly. But that area of the park, there's no one doing anything.
Yeah.
Hatate, Engels, Nygren, McCowan,
Bernardo looked a bit better the other night, maybe.
Again,
I think Bernardo deserves a run in the team, right?
Why? I don't know what.
But because he's been left out, and you can't just bring him in the other night there, Ross, and go, right, we'll judge him. Give him a run in the team now. Give him, put people in there. I think Hatate needs to find that for him. But the one thing about Hatate is he gives you energy, Gordon. He gives you energy going forward. And I know he's not playing well, but he's not alone in there. I just feel that Celtic are very, very slow in the middle of the park just now, and then it goes back to the defenders, it comes out wide again. Fans are hating this style of football just now. They've got too many good players in there, and sometimes you have to look at players that are not in form, and let's be honest, and Celtic fans will be on here going off their head that you're criticising the great Callum McGregor, which he has been. He's been absolutely right. He's been brilliant for Celtic, and we're not denying. But there comes a point where you go, you can't just keep playing a player because of his past record for me.
Okay, let's leave it there. So everyone on the call and in the studio critical of Kasper Schmeichel, but not ready to drop him out the team. So if you've got any differing thoughts, please do share them on a Saturday evening. We end up spinning a few plates looking back on today's action and forward to tomorrow. So let's do the former with Simon, who's a Kilmarnock fan. You must be delighted with that result today, beating St Mirren by 2-0.
Hi Gordon, hi panel, hope you're all doing well. Yeah, absolutely delighted. I think none of the Kilmarnock fans wanted Stuart Kettle when he came in. That's been well documented, but we all, unlike the Rangers fans, we're willing to give him a chance, and we weren't anything about him personally. We were willing to see if he could prove us all wrong, and I'm delighted to say he has. I think we've really, really quietly went about our business. I think St Mirren are getting so much praise, Motherwell getting a lot of praise for the way they're playing football, but we've quietly just rebuilt an entire squad, and up to third now in the league with we absolutely battered St Mirren today, bullied them from the first minute. The cup game, we stood off them and we almost let them bully us for large spells, but it looks like we learned our lesson from that, which is what you can ask for a manager. Obviously managers are going to make mistakes. You're not going to be at Kelly if you're the perfect manager, but he clearly learned from his errors in the last time he played St Mirren a few weeks ago. And yeah, another comfortable win, 2 clean sheets, 2-0 wins in a row. Tough games, again, games I don't think many people would have predicted we'd get anything out of. Dundee United and St Mirren today. So yeah, absolutely chuffed and just delighted to see a brand new squad clicking so quickly and moving up the table.
How impressive is that? The word you used, kind of bullying, and you're really deserving it, because like St Mirren are not invincible, they're not unbeatable, they're not going to never lose games, but very, very few teams do that to them, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're not like flat track bullies like we were under McInnes. When we had our season where we finished 4th in the league, we got there by being big, strong, and fighting hard. I think when you're looking at the team, especially today with David Watson's goal, I don't understand why Derek McInnes started playing him so deep last season. He's not a defensive midfielder, he's an attacking midfielder. He's winning that kind of shadow striker role where he's always pushing as the last of the midfield. If there's one thing that's going to stop Hearts challenging the worst Rangers and Celtic teams in a generation, it's Derek McInnes's meddling, because he doesn't know how to just settle a team and just play players in the right positions. And I know that's the criticism from some Hearts fans already. But with Davy Watson playing that further up the park, he's in that advanced role which allows, you know, the other midfielders, Polworth especially, sitting deep, who can dictate the tempo. He looks like a different player this season as well. But it's the new boys I've been really impressed with. Like James Brown came in from County. He was probably brought in to be third choice right back, because we've obviously lost Jamie Brandon, who had a great start to the season. We've lost Ben Brannan, who's still just coming back from an injury. They'd be the first two choice right backs. And I think James Brown today was excellent at right back. I think Dom Thompson again at left back was another one who Kelly fans were a bit meh about, but he's been fantastic. The back three looks really, really good. Stanger looks like a really good addition. Max Stryek, the goalkeeper, and big Marcus Dackers up front. I'm so delighted for him. He got his goal. He's such a handful. He's a brilliant player to watch. So much fun, chaos factor. But yeah, like you say, the bullying aspect and being able to play some really good football.
Simon, you raised the Russell Martin question there. Is it easier or harder for Kilmarnock fans to give Stuart Kettlewell time, having been hostile towards his appointment in the first place? Is it easier or harder for you than it is for Rangers supporters to allow Russell Martin time?
I don't think the two are really. We're less of a toxic fan base, let's be honest. The Rangers fans have this idea in their head of where they should be, and financially that's just not going to happen immediately. You know, it's going to take a lot of time to get Rangers back to where they believe that they should be. Whereas Kilmarnock, you know, it has been a lot of work as well. We've changed an entire squad. That is not easy, but obviously the Kilmarnock fans aren't the easiest fan base to please either. You know, we're a tough bunch at sometimes, and I think some of the criticisms, especially early on, were maybe a little bit unfair, where we're still learning about Stuart Kettlewell. But listen, you know, the Rangers fans expect to be something that is probably unachievable at this moment in time, whereas Kilmarnock, what we've been quite happy this season with, you know, pushing for top six, you know, running the cup, which obviously we didn't get, which was unlucky going out on penalties. But I feel like we've given Stuart Kettlewell a chance, which I don't think Rangers fans have ever done with their manager. But yeah, just absolutely delighted. I can't wait. We've got obviously the game against Hearts next up in the league at Rugby Park, a night-time kick-off. That's going to be
to be fair on that though, you could say that, in credit to Stuart Kettlewell, he's given the Kilmarnock fans something to buy into that Russell Martin hasn't yet. But anyway, we don't need to spend too much time comparing the two. For the second week in a row though, it feels like Kilmarnock have got a result that other people kind of sit up and take notice.
Yeah, I tipped him up at Tannadice. There was something about them. What I think, and I tipped him today.
You're on fire with these predictions, honestly.
But I've got to say, what I think the difference is Stuart Kettlewell's went to Kilmarnock. He's playing this three at the back formation that he likes, and he's got the personnel. And as Simon said there, he's using Watson in the right position, and he's on fire just now, scoring goals. Obviously there'll be a lot of big clubs looking at him. He's a great prospect, a very, very good player. Look, I think that Kilmarnock, I think Dundee United, I think teams like that, it's roller coasters in the season for them. You know, they'll hit that point where, like Dundee United at the beginning, they were riding high and everybody was thinking, oh, Dundee United at home, Canada, they're going to win. Kilmarnock are a little bit like that now. St Mirren have had a little bit of that, but all credit, while you're getting it, and Simon's quite right, as a Kilmarnock supporter, go and enjoy it.
Good insight into the mind of a Kilmarnock fan there. What about you, Rangers fans? Not heard from you yet. Still every day wanting your latest thoughts on Russell Martin and what it looks like tomorrow. Any more on the Celtic team to face Motherwell tomorrow as well? Get them in, and we're getting closer to that Edinburgh derby as well. Let's hear from you.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Gordon Dalziel and Ross McCormack are here. Why not join in? It's 0141 951 1025. You can tweet at Clyde SSB as well. I'm sure we'll start hearing from some of today's managers. I'd like to. Your number one choice would be Stephen Robinson,
without doubt. Yeah, five substitutions made by the 63rd minute is the work of an angry man, and an angry man who doesn't hold back on his feelings and doesn't hold back on sharing his feelings with the public. So I'd be keen to hear his assessment of a very bad day at the office.
I totally agree. Listen, before the play started, he was sitting in third. He's a semi-final of a cup, so one bad day doesn't, put a season into the situation doubt. But he'd be very angry at that, going down to Kilmarnock, probably in the manner they lost. Listening to David Friel, listening to Simon there, thought you don't hear too often that St Mirren get bullied. So I think he'll be very angry with that.
I think you would say two very different things. One thing in the dressing room and another thing to the press. I think Gordon's right. They're third in the league. They're in a semi-final. I don't think after one bad performance he's going to throw the boys under the bus.
Not like when he hooked you at half time when your return to Motherwell.
I can't tell you what he's. I think he says I'm doing you a favour.
Well, he done 3 of them a favour this afternoon.
Never to be seen again. Was it one appearance when you came back or two?
I think I came off the bench for like 2 minutes or something.
Oh dear.
See, I think that's what happened with Balaquisha at Celtic. I think Brendan Rodgers is saying, I'll do you a favour and not play you, and then they'll all see what you're like.
And actually, I think that, like I said earlier, I think that's fine. The problem is they're all being let down by the other circumstances. You should be allowed to try and use guys sparingly and get them up to speed. They did it with Nicholas Kuhn, but the problem is that was a good Celtic team. That was a team that was functioning, so you could afford to do it. You can't afford to at the moment because the spotlight goes on. Let's hear from Jim Goodwin, quickly, since we're on the topic of today's games. Then we will bring in a Celtic fan. Take it away, Jim Goodwin.
Quite simply, the first half wasn't good enough, and then second half was a lot better. Conditions probably played a part. There was quite a wind coming down the hill, and I think it showed. In both halves. Livingston had it in the first half, we had it in the second half. I sound like a broken record talking about the goal that we conceded again. A real poor mistake from our point of view. We should deal with the first ball up the channel, and then we get caught out trying to be too clever, and it's a simple goal as far as Livingston are concerned. We don't seem to get those types of opportunities ourselves. We have to work hard for every goal that we get, and far too often this season we've conceded needlessly as far as I'm concerned. Second half was a lot better. We were a lot more on the front foot. We were competing better in the middle of the park, picking up second balls, working the ball wide, getting into lots of dangerous areas. The only criticism possibly would be at times we didn't show enough quality in the final third when we got there. Our decision making in terms of the type of cross we were needing, whether it was a cut back to the penalty spot or one flashed across the face. I felt when we got the equaliser, we were very much in the ascendancy, and I felt that if anyone was going to go and win the game, I felt it was going to be ourselves. But definitely we feel as if it's a couple of points dropped.
That's a dream for you. A manager who references having the wind and shooting down the hill.
There you go.
Those are things that you bring up every single week without...
Well, especially today with Storm Amy hanging about.
Honestly,
Scotland.
we've finally found one that agrees with you.
Exactly.
Scott is on the line. How are you, Scott?
I'm alright, guys. Hope you are all keeping well and safe for the weather.
Yeah, on you go.
I've been on a few, I'm a regular caller. I've been on a few times over the years, and sometimes you want to defend players, sometimes you can see why they're not playing well, or if the manager's not doing things. I think right now at present it's a bit of everything. Cal McGregor seems to be a guy that's getting a beating just now. Let's say something about Cal McGregor. Callum's actually an attacking midfield player that basically get through into that role when Scott Brown left it, obviously retired. Callum's a great player, but he's never been, in my opinion, he was always a goal-scoring midfield player. He played sort of the same role as what Tom Rogic would play. If you remember right, when Tom Rogic was in the team, Callum would maybe be in the team, or Stuart Armstrong. But he sort of inherited that role, so I'm going to give Callum a lot of slack. What I would have done, personally, I would have brought Arne Engels back into the team, let him play, and then he's got a better range of passing, in my opinion, than Callum. Let Callum get a bit further forward into that sort of area where Rio Itate's been playing, or when Rio's not been playing. And that's another point as well. Rio Itate picking the ball up for a goalkeeper 80 yards from where he should be. I mean, I don't know what the manager's doing, the way he shapes the team up with formations. On Thursday night he just threw everything at it. He just went, look, I'll go to 3 at the back. Something he's never done in all the time he's been here. I think he's done it maybe once. I think when we went down to 10 men at Ibrox in his first term. I've never seen him play 3 at the back under him. And then he just sort of all shape went out the team. I just don't. I don't know where it's going wrong. Arne Engels is a strange one. Last season he was a first choice pick every week in the team, no matter what. Maybe dropped a couple of times when he was maybe looking a bit leggy. Then all of a sudden this season, he's hardly started a game. That's a strange one. And then, same as Paulo Bernardo as well. Well used last season up to get his injury. I think it was round about maybe January or February, and then he sort of also was out injured. But both the players played a lot of games last season. This season they've hardly started a game.
I know what you're saying about Callum McGregor, Scott, and I get that, you know, going back he was a bit more attacking, but Brendan Rodgers clearly really thinks he is a 6, as did Ange Postecoglou, as did Steve Clarke at international level when surrounded by English Premier League midfielders. Callum McGregor is now he's a defensive midfielder. There can't be much doubt about that.
But you don't think when he's taking so much criticism at present, maybe moving him a bit further forward, take him out the firing line a wee bit, ask him to do less running, maybe be a bit more attack minded would maybe help him.
Wherever Brendan Rodgers turns, though, there's not an answer for him. You know, if you take Hatate, Paulo Bernardo, McGregor, Engels, McCowan, Nygren, none of them has shown much this season at all.
Scott, do you remember the Old Firm game at Ibrox last season?
Yep.
You remember Arnie Engels playing number 6?
Yeah, it didn't work.
And he was like a fish out of water. You're now asking for him to be played as a number 6.
I think Bernardo can play
that. He has to be played in one game, but he has to be played in one game. See, Gordon, you hit the nail on the head earlier on. You can't just throw somebody in after being out the team for weeks and you say, by the way, go and play well tonight. How does that work? If you've ignored the guy all season, where is his mind going to be when you've said all season since the start of the season you're not good enough to play any games, then you throw him in?
I take your point about McGregor. I think McGregor's a good enough player to play anywhere, but you're right when you say that most managers play him as that number 6, you know, dictating the play of the defenders.
One of the 8s, is that any less running? Maybe
no,
more.
No, but I think McGregor in the forward position, he can get goals.
I know, but Scott's saying if you take him out the firing line, play him as one of the other ones that maybe run less, but I don't think those do run less.
More running. Running.
But I think he can. I think in the 8, and listen, I'm not saying right or wrong, but in the 8, I think he's good enough with the ball at his feet. He can find the killer passes easier. That's the only benefit for me would be.
I think Paulo Bernardo can do that role, the way Callum McGregor does. And I know he's not in form, but I think what you end up finding is maybe a bit like James Tavernier. See, when you get that, you're the captain and there's a bit more profile and a bit more expectation, and you've been at a level and you drop off it, but you then find out that you don't know what you've got till it's gone, sort of thing. Is it not the case that even an out of form Callum McGregor is still maybe by a distance the best holding midfielder Celtic have got?
Listen, Callum McGregor is still a brilliant player for Celtic. There's no doubt in that. Nobody's questioning that. But you're not telling me at Celtic, especially at Celtic Park, Bernardo, with the ability he's got, can't get and play a 6. I think he could. I'm not saying look, I'm not arguing that he's better than McGregor at it, but I'm saying that Bernardo is capable of doing it.
I think the reference that Brendan Rodgers made to I need to find solutions for this was very open and honest of him, because he knows that, you know, the game is peaks and troughs, and right now Celtic are in a trough. They're shaky in goal, shaky at fullback. The midfield's not, no matter which trio he puts together, they don't hit the right notes, and Tunekti up front is the only bright spark, although Iniacho does show an eye for a goal if he gets the service. So starting tomorrow, Brendan has to find a solution to the midfield problem. McGregor will stay, undoubtedly. It's who plays alongside him, because all of the players, including Paulo Bernardo, including Engels, no one has shown yet that they are a must-have in the team.
I'm not saying Callum McGregor's undroppable. He shouldn't be. Ross Noban, no one should be, but it feels like there's maybe more of a relevant conversation is, should Celtic have started succession planning now? Should there be someone who can be drip fed in? And maybe that is what we're seeing tomorrow. Maybe the longer term thinking of what happens next is more relevant than sort of take him out the team right now.
No, listen, there's definitely an argument for that, but if you take someone like Lennon Miller, for talking sake, how do you sell that to someone? Look, we're preparing for the future here. You're eventually going to replace Callum McGregor, but you're not going to do it right now. You might get a game here and there. good players ain't going to go for that. But for me, watching Celtic, Callum McGregor is absolutely integral. The way he dictates the game, the pace of the game. I think there's other areas that need to be addressed a lot more than Callum McGregor. For me, if it's energy that you want in that midfield area, there's one player who shows it every single time he plays, is Luke McCown. I'm not saying he should be an absolute starter every day, every game for Celtic, but right now, if it's energy that you want, put him in the team. But I don't agree with I definitely don't agree with Scott when he thinks.
Scott, would you change the goalkeeper, or is it too early for that? Scott, would you change the goalkeeper, or is it too early?
By a mile, change him.
You would, yeah.
I'll change him tomorrow, straight away. I talk about players making mistakes.
I think Scott's line's breaking up a wee bit there. Sorry, on you go. Got you now.
Before the season started. You're bringing this boy along and giving him 2 seasons.
But then the bit about, shouldn't have even started the seasons, maybe harsh when he has had some good games this season, Gordon.
Yeah, he certainly has. Listen, he's a top quality goalkeeper, has been, Gordon, but when you're a goalkeeper and you start making 1 or 2 mistakes, it gets highlighted more than any other position on the pitch.
Particularly first half against Braga, he was alarming. The goal he lost was alarming. His distribution of the ball was alarming. You just looked at him and thought, whatever happened to you?
Thank you, Scott. What about Tom, who's a St Mirren fan? Disappointing one today, Tom?
Very disappointed. I couldn't emphasise Simon's comment at the start of the programme, Gordon. Says that we weren't brilliant. We just had an off day. Two bad results in 18 games. That's not a bad record for the start of the season. The start of the season we had Rangers, Hibs, Celtic. That's a great start of the season. 2 defeats in 18 games, Gordon.
Yeah, that's the thing. Stephen Robinson and this team's got so much goodwill in the bank, don't they, that it's not even close to being something that you would panic about yet, is it?
No, I think we're playing well. In fact, as I say to you, if the Tuesday with a bad game, one bad game doesn't make us a bad team.
I don't think anyone would write St Mirren off because they lost against Kilmarnock.
No, they're semi-final of the Cup as well, Gordon, with a great opportunity to get to the final. You can throw Motherwell into that as well, Tom, a good Motherwell side. Look, St Mirren ain't going to go through every game in the season playing really well and being very difficult. They're going to have an off day. So is every other team in this league. There's no doubt about that. But the one thing is they've got a very good manager, they've got a good squad. They'll be disappointed today, but take nothing away from Kettlewell and Kilmarnock. Brilliant for them. And then they just need to bounce back in the next game.
Taking one afternoon in isolation. 2 wins in 18, as Tom says, or 2 defeats in 18. Fine, great. But one afternoon in isolation, they go 2 down, and by the 63rd minute, the manager has changed half of the outfield. He's taken off 5 players and put another 5 on. So one afternoon in isolation, St Mirren were overrun and the manager will be overwrought.
Thank you very much to Tom. We'll get kick-off in the Edinburgh Derby and more of your calls if you so fancy when we come back.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Here comes kick-off in the Edinburgh Derby. Hearts against Hibs, the league leaders, the champions-elect, as Hugh Keevins is calling them. So we can't wait to witness the first stages of that one. And then, of course, whatever happens, the guys will look back on it tomorrow. Chelsea have gone 1-up on Liverpool in spectacular fashion. If you're keeping an eye on that one as well. But, of course, forget that stuff. Edinburgh Derby is for us. Who did the best with the predictions today?
Yeah, me.
What did you get?
2.
2 out of 3. What was your... Show your working, you predicted
Partick draw and Kilmarnock to win.
Great shouts from you, actually. So I'll let you off with not getting the other one.
I got all 3 wrong.
Shock.
Yeah.
Ross?
I can't remember, mate.
Well, you took St Mirren, there you go.
Oh, that sums
I
it
got
up.
the first one right, the draw.
What one?
Dundee United and Livingston.
No, you did not.
I did.
Anyway,
I swear.
what are you going for the Edinburgh Derby?
The champions-elect.
Hearts to win at home?
Yes.
Hibs have won the last 2 derbies. He's going Hearts this one. What are you saying?
I think it'll be a score and draw.
Ross McCormack?
I've got to go the other side of the fence, haven't I? Hibs on the counter attack. Bowie and Boyle. Hibs the win.
Hibs away at Tynecastle. Interesting. Right, whilst we get that game started, and I'll keep you up to speed on anything you need to know in the early stages. We just had a St Mirren caller. Let's hear from Stephen Robinson. He can't have been too impressed with that today.
63% possession and going lower. That's what it was. It was everything we're not. We work on having control of the game when we've earned the right to have control of the game. We never done that at any stage. We refused to deliver balls. You're playing on a horrible pitch, horrendous weather, and they played it much better than us. They went longer. Anytime they got it, they went long. Didn't take chances. They landed on second balls, and they scored 2 goals from it. When we had possession of the ball, we didn't penetrate. We went round and round, which we work on to move them and then get down the sides of people. So everything we're good at, we didn't do. So when you do that, which doesn't happen very often for us, then you lose football matches.
It's not very often you see a manager use all these subs by 63 minutes, 16. Did that just sum up how you were feeling?
Yeah, and rightly or wrongly, whether that was right or wrong, we just felt that we weren't getting anything. We were, as I say, we hadn't earned the right to play and pass the ball around at the back. We usually turn people around, we put balls into the box, we refused deliveries, we refused zone 2 runs, and then we just kept going back round again instead of hurting them. When we spoke about, and everybody knows and they all agree afterwards, that's all we spoke about before the game. Play the conditions. It can't be perfect, it'll be a horrible game. They played the conditions much better than us. They went long, they landed on seconds, their striker gave them a platform I thought was excellent all day, and you lose games if you don't play to your strengths, and we certainly didn't do that today.
I think that was a sanitised version of what he said to the players in the dressing room. That's it, dressed up for public consumption. And to his credit, no attempt whatsoever to look for a get-out clause anywhere. 2 sentences I wrote down. Everything went wrong, number 1. And number 2, everything we're good at, we didn't do. So that sums up a 2-0 defeat away from home.
It sums up football to me. Going very well in the league and going very well in the cup semi-final against Motherwell, and they go down to informed Kilmarnock after a great win up at Tannadice. Doesn't go well for you. That's football. I totally agree. I think by the time he gets home tonight, has his dinner, he'll have totally written that off, looking forward to the next game.
Gary, sorry Hugh, I was going to bring in Gary because we're actually getting a bit close to the end of the show all of a sudden. Gary's a Celtic fan. What are you thinking about tomorrow, Gary?
Well, after during the week, normally last season I'd be quite positive, however, but I still think we'll win tomorrow. But there's massive problems at Celtic right now, but I think it's a wee bit diminished by the fact that the problems at Rangers. So, but that watch during the week was a hard watch, to be honest.
I think Gary makes the most salient point of all there. If Rangers were cruising under Russell Martin and were on top of the league, other than Hearts being top of the league, the Celtic fans would be in uproar, absolute uproar. But they're consoled by the fact that Rangers are even worse than they are.
Hugh, this is why I'm surprised with the situation across the city. I think if they were to change the manager and do it soon, Celtic are there to be caught.
Yeah, and I mean, Gary was there midweek. Gary's a Celtic fan. He's trusting the evidence of his own eyes. This is a team that's gone seriously off the boil. I repeat, the goalkeeper's a worry. The fullbacks are a worry. The midfield has lost all creativity. Your best hope is Tunekti up front, and I hope that Iniacho gets a goal that's not disallowed for being offside, or he is the victim of a fantasy VAR decision. Gary sees lots of problems, and Gary's correct.
What about tomorrow, Gary? I think some of the debates there is about who to change and whether to change anyone. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I hope Luke McCown gets a start tomorrow, to be honest, because in my opinion, being a Celtic fan and watched all games, I just don't understand how he's not been given a run of games in this centre mid, especially because, as obviously everyone's noticed, Cal McGregor, obviously not his best. Negrin, Rodgers doesn't know where his best position is. Hatate has been miles off it. So, and then Bernardo comes out of the blue. So, if I was Luke McCown during the week, I would have been absolutely fuming. Because for me, we have absolutely zero legs in our midfield, which is been shown in abundance this full season. So tomorrow, I mean, I don't even know. As Hugh's right, during the week, the only player who is actually lit up the fans is Tinekti, and he looks an absolute player. He reminds me of Jota, but like, look at the other side. Like, we brought in as 5 million on Bitwashi, who can't even get on the pitch. We're bringing on Forrest, although.
The guy I'm about to mention, Gordon, has been excellent, rejuvenated, and he's in really good form. We've had him in here, but still, Stephen O'Donnell's got a job in his hands against Sebastian Tinetki tomorrow.
Yeah, he's been the one bright spark you've got to say for Celtic. He's been absolutely brilliant for them. It'll be a big ask tomorrow because Celtic will look to get the ball to him. Do you know something? We could sat here last year and probably picked 10 out of the 11 Celtic team players that's going to start the game nearly every week. It'll be interesting to see what.
But see, on that's what I was thinking when Gary was running through it. This is not a criticism of Gary. I'm taking all the points and together there now. So Callum McGregor, Rio Hatate, Benjamin Negrin, they're all getting criticised. And look, because they need to pick 3.
Yeah,
you know, like, they can't all be left out. So I know people have then got their different ideas on who should be left out, but the 3 of them need to play. So what does it look like?
Unless you go Ingles, Bernardo and McGowan.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But you can add in Maeda to that as well. He played out on the right. I feel sorry for him. He's not kicked. He's not kicked a ball. He's been played in different positions this season. A guy that won the Player of the Year by a country mile last year, all of a sudden no form whatsoever. That's why I say it'll be interesting to see the starting 11 tomorrow at Celtic Park.
Final word on, it's 0-0 in the Edinburgh Derby, by the way. 7.5 gone. The only shot has come from Hibs, although Hearts have had most of the ball, and nothing to tell you about really yet. Final, because we've done a few calls on Celtic there, Hugh, so before we go, final thoughts on Rangers tomorrow heading to Falkirk.
Well, we use the same expressions all the time, but it's a must-win game. He cannot afford to drop any points or the pandemonium level will rise, but he is in the most unique position of any Rangers manager in the club's history. He's totally unwanted by 100% of the support, but appears to have the backing of the people who own the club. The supporters don't like his style of football. They don't like the players who have been brought in. They don't like anything at all about Russell Martin. It has reached a totally irrational level where the chief executive and the director of football are now being approached by fans in public places and spoken to in a detrimental manner. They are a club in need of a positive turn of events. But the Rangers fans will go to Falkirk tomorrow with no sense of belief in anything connected with the club.
I don't think it'll be easy. Everybody's saying that Rangers need a real good performance and a real good win, 3, 4, 5. Now, I don't think that Rangers team have got it in them just now. I think they'll scrape a result. I think Falkirk will play their usual football. But I think Russell Martin needs to leave there tomorrow night. Tomorrow night with 3 points, Gordon.
I think he does. I think first half against Livingston, good. Second half against in Europe, again, good. I think they probably string 75, 80 good minutes together and win pretty comfortably tomorrow.
There you go. Well, you've heard it here first. Falkirk, a lot of plaudits for the way they came up, and I think they've been good enough in spells, and it was a nice opening day draw. They've obviously got the result up at Pittodrie and so on. You just wonder if last week at Tynecastle was just a sort of one-off, or a sign that certain games in the Premiership are going to be pretty tough for them.
Honestly, I thought it was a wake-up call for them. I think they'll look at it, and there's a lot of more games coming along like that. Look, you can't argue against Falkirk. John McLennan, the way he plays football, the team, everything about it, they've been brilliant. They've come through the divisions together, added 1 or 2 players into the squad. They've not got the guys that will score them the goals, and I think they'll concede goals. I think it's got to be a long season ahead for Falkirk.
Rangers struggled at Kilmarnock, at Livingston last Sunday. 94th minute goal tells you the extent of the struggle. If they struggle against Falkirk, then supporters are entitled to call here after the game, speak to Andrew McLean, and to call you on Monday night, speak to you and the panel, and say, how can those who own the club and those who direct the club's affairs possibly look at this and see nothing wrong.
A big day tomorrow. Neither Celtic or Rangers can really afford a disappointing day, dropped points, and yet Motherwell and Falkirk will be looking to do just that. Make sure you join Andrew McLean and the guys tomorrow afternoon. I will speak to you Monday night when we look back on it all, and in the meantime you might as well stay right there. I know it's a miserable weekend, but there is one man tailor-made to cheer you all up and entertain you this Saturday night. It is at the GBX, coming next.